Hello, fun Philistines and assorted listeners. This is Jordan, speaking to you post-podcast recording because, as you can probably tell, we're still kind of working out the kinks with the new equipment. We encountered a pretty big kink because Sam's microphone just kind of stopped recording for no reason about halfway through. And it took us about 40 minutes to realise. Thankfully, we were able to salvage the audio from my mic and from Eddie's mic, so you can always hear Sam, but there's going to be a stretch of time where he's just a little bit quieter and a bit more distant than his usual self. We apologise for that. Hopefully, well, it doesn't happen again during this episode, and we've taken steps to ensure that it won't happen again in the future. But other than that, enjoy the second part of our Top 10 of the 10s podcast.
Okay, the next one on my list, number 6 is Django Unchained.
Django
is a cracking...
Django.
Again, cracking film. For me, it's the best Tarantino film.
What's it about, Eddie? What's it about?
It's about a dude named Django.
Okay.
He gets unchained.
Oh, he's doing the thing.
I know. Yeah, I know. Right. Okay. Give us the plot, and then I want to make a point.
Contrary to what we've been doing so far.
Honestly, the best way of putting the plot, I'm not entirely sure, but essentially, it's about a guy who is a slave.
Yes.
He gets kind of freed.
Yeah.
And then works with the guy who kind of freed him.
Yeah.
Bounty hunters, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They become bounty hunters.
Yes.
And yes, I do give plaudits to DiCaprio for the one particular scene where he cuts his hand open.
Yes.
Which is now infamous at this point,
yeah.
Where he slams his hand on the table, breaks a glass, which was not intended. So but he carries on the scene, so as you see his hand bleeding throughout the scene, he's actually bleeding.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we? You know when he smears it over Kerry Washington's face?
Yeah.
Do we know that if that is... Because I feel like towards closest to the time, people were reporting that he just stayed in character and had done that. I'm like...
Yes.
Yeah.
Nah. I don't care how committed you are. You're not going to wipe your blood over the face of another actor.
I don't know, because it's the same shot as when we see him cut his hand, but we've cut away a few times. So I don't know whether, maybe hidden in between the cuts.
Yeah, like he rolled with it like, ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's
work
fix
with
him
that.
up. And
Yeah.
Because, I just don't see him rubbing. I mean, she responds as you would, but I feel like... An actress would go, what the fuck? Cut it.
Yeah, here's the thing though, Sam Jackson, because I made a point of watching Sam Jackson because he's also in the shot. He doesn't really react to it.
No.
Which implies to me that maybe she knew that was going to happen. So, yeah,
Sam
wasn't
Jackson's
just...
a prick in this film as well.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's
But
a
no,
prick.
it's a fantastic cast turning in fantastic performances.
Yeah.
You wanted to make a point, Sam. I don't want to deviate too far from that.
Well, I was going to make it. I thought about it as you were talking, and I've sort of made the point with myself.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I was going to say about using the N-word.
The N-word is used a bunch in this film, which is, I suppose, period accurate.
Yes.
But the question is, I think you posed this before, is that Tarantino enjoys being able to use the N-word.
Yes.
So how much of this is him finding reasons to use it? You know?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
so he does, because he's in it, isn't he, Tarantino?
He's in it towards the end, and he uses the word as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, he does.
He wrote a scene for himself.
Yeah.
To say the word.
But here's the thing, he did it in Pulp Fiction, which isn't about slavery.
No.
He just said, famous dead in storage. And he clearly likes it, but I don't think he likes it in a obviously in a racist way. I don't think he likes it in a look at me being edgy way. I think he likes the idea that he kind of is black. Genuinely. I think if you see him in interviews, he sometimes starts talking like that.
Yeah.
Like even acceptance speeches and stuff.
Can you imagine if he wins an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Well, he did for Django, didn't he?
But did he say it at the... Imagine it just...
I don't think he'd say it in life, to be fair.
No, just at the Oscars for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best script, I gotta thank the...
They can use my... I think he loves blaxploitation films where they say it all the time. So I think he just like, oh, it's okay. Like I can say that word as well, But yes, you have to ask how much of it is it's chronistic to the period.
Yes.
And how much has he kind of reverse engineered the film as an excuse to litter the M-bomb throughout it. Yeah.
I mean, we got Django Unchained out of it.
We did, and I do like it a lot.
Yeah.
It derives quite a lot of humour from that word.
Yes,
I will
it
say.
does.
And you're watching it like, is this okay? I think it is, because it's satirising racism, isn't it? I'm not saying it's Mel Brooks here, but it's...
Yeah, it's not on that level.
No, it's not on that level, but it's not just done aggressively or kind of... There's usually a... No, I'm not going to say there's a point to it, because there's not. People just say it. But there are instances where if you were confused about Tarantino's liberal credentials, there are moments in the film where he is clearly satirising racism. Yeah. Much better than Jojo Rabbit does, by the way.
Because that's a recent example.
Yeah. And so, like, an example would be in the scene where Django and King Schultz, played by Christoph Waltz, go to Don Johnson's...
The big house.
The big house, yeah. They go to his plantation, and Django's a free man at this point. Yeah. And so Don Johnson says to one of his slaves, "Oh, treat Django like you would like any other, like the milk boy or something like that comes from the town." She's like, "Oh, you want me to treat him like a white man?" He's like, "Okay, no, not quite like a white man.
Yeah,
more like." And he's like, he can't find the correct level at which. The correct level of vitriol with which he should treat Django. I think scenes like that is like, oh, there's clearly a satirical element to this, you know.
Most of the racists are portrayed as fools, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
DiCaprio, who sort of ends up becoming the main... Well, is he the main villain?
Yeah.
Sam Jackson, I would say, is more of a threat than...
It's more of a threat, and he obviously ends up outliving DiCaprio. Yeah. But I would say DiCaprio is the main villain of the film.
Okay.
Broadly speaking. It's his plantation.
Yes, but he's like portrayed as like a gullible fool. Were it not for Sam Jackson, their plan would have paid off. Mm-hmm. Don Johnson, like the KKK scene that follows that, they're all portrayed as just idiots.
Yeah.
Speaking
of which, one of my critiques: why the hell do they structure it that way, where they ride the Valkyries to the wagon, and then it goes back and shows the preamble where it's the whole banter about the bags on the head.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is the point of that? It's such an odd edit. I don't know why he did that.
I don't know if it's because there's a few moments, not just in this film, broadly speaking, Tarantino will like start a scene to music, and then the music will just cut out when we're in like a different part of the scene.
Yeah.
And obviously that sudden cut, in many cases, it's sort of the jarringness is kind of comedic.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that was he was structuring it for comedy.
He does it in enough films that must be a thing for him. I
think it is. Yeah.
He's like, nah, I'm doing this. It works this way.
Yeah, and maybe it's just like maybe he was structuring it for comedy. Maybe he was just like, oh, you know, I don't know how to fit in Ride the Valkyries if we just do the preamble and then come in and
yeah.
Is it maybe like to introduce them as this kind of Wagnerian, because obviously Ride of the Valkyries is used in Birth for Nation.
Yes.
With the KKK riding in. And so is it a case of, we introduce them as this kind of imperial force.
And then immediately.
And then instantly undercut it.
It could very well be the case.
I get that, but it's like, it's not necessary. Like, we all know the iconography of the KKK is kind of repellent enough. You don't need to think of them as aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, we know they're evil.
Yeah.
Just them wearing the masks, I get it. You know? They could have, because literally it goes from them riding in to them scoping it out, doesn't it? Johnston and Jonah Hill or whatever, scoping it out. Then they return to their posse. It's like you could have just gone straight from them going to the posse, all with their hoods on their heads, like, ooh, it's the KKK.
Yeah.
And then they have that stupid conversation. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yeah.
You easily could have done that. I just don't know why they edited it that way around.
Tarantino things.
Yeah.
Like, as I say, I think it is my favourite film of his of this decade.
I concur.
I do like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as good.
No.
And Hateful Eight definitely isn't.
No.
Where does it stand in the pantheon of Tarantino?
Oh.
It's not as good as Inglourious Bastards.
No.
Not as good as Pulp Fiction.
And that's one criticism I have, although I don't really know how you work around it. I like King Schultz. I like that performance, but he's Hans Lander. You know, I can't stop thinking of Hans Lander.
Yes, but I haven't seen Christoph Waltz give any performance that wasn't Hans Lander.
No, that's fair. But also, it's like the most recent, because Inglourious came just before Django. It was like the next film
Yeah.
Tarantino did.
It's 3 years between them.
Yeah, so it feels a bit like, you've just had this. Maybe, like, if you're not going to do anything different with him, maybe we should, like, wait a film before we bring him back.
The thing is, it's hard because it's not like he doesn't do anything. I mean, it's a totally different character.
Yeah, and he's even, like, because he's a villain in Inglourious, whereas he's the secondary hero in this.
Yeah. And, he's the mentor figure. And is it just a case of it's Tarantino dialogue, so he's kind of delivering it the same? I mean, he's not quite as menacing as he is in Inglourious Bastards, I would say. Even as a hero. He's not quite as threatening, I don't think.
Oh, no.
He has his moments, obviously.
Yeah.
But, okay, if we're going to talk about Waltz, when he dies, I've got a big problem with how that happens.
Okay.
Because that character is the complete force of intellect and wisdom and reasonableness in the South, right? He's European, he doesn't understand slavery.
Yep.
He's the outsider who gets it.
Yeah.
They're there to save Broomhilda.
Yeah.
Django's wife.
And then, because when DiCaprio finds out that he's being, conned, he makes an agreement with them for them to leave. But the condition is that Waltz has to shake his hand. And he just can't bear the idea of shaking a hand with such a deeply foul, racist guy.
Yeah.
So he shoots him, right?
Yes.
Triggering a massive gunfight where, like, everyone gets blown away. It's very against that character to do something so rash, don't you think? I know, he couldn't bear... But we haven't really been exposed to his... We get that he's not racist.
Yeah.
But it comes out of nowhere, like, I can't even bear to shake your hand. It's
I
practically,
think for
you
them,
just do it and get out.
the idea is that they've built this up over the scene of how disgusting DiCaprio's
I get
character
because it keeps flashing back to the dogs tearing apart the slave.
Yeah.
And he's clearly, like, traumatized by it. But I just think, for that kind of character... he would be more level-headed than to just completely fuck up their chances. He would just do it and hate that he did it and then leave. Do you know what I mean?
No, well, I mean,
but he's also got the gun on it down his sleeve, and I imagine he's aware of that.
Yeah, DiCaprio's aware of that.
No. As in, Christoph Waltz is aware that he has got a gun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here.
Yeah.
And DiCaprio very much suspects that there is something up, given that he won't shake his hand.
Oh no! I think DiCaprio's too he's too caught up in his victory to give a shit at this point. And I think the film clearly is trying to show that Waltz is Waltz is being broken down by this. Obviously everything, the horrors that he's witnessed throughout the film with, like, the Mandingo fighting and the dogs, and then you've got just the fact that DiCaprio just won't stop taunting him and won't stop trying to get a leg up on him.
Yeah.
No, I completely understood, because obviously the film wants you to hate DiCaprio as well.
And you do.
You want that character dead towards the
end
of the film.
But I dare say...
So it's kind of nice that the goodest character in the film...
Yeah, and Tarantino's probably thinking, well, Jamie Foxx is going to kill Sam Jackson, so we'll have Waltz kill DiCaprio.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, he probably wrote that big scene, which is the highlight of the film, that dinner table scene. And then I was like, oh shit, but how do I... I've written myself out of it now. They've... How do I fuck things up? Oh, I'll just have Waltz be so offended by DiCaprio that he kills him.
Okay.
And it's here's the thing. Most characters in anything in that situation where he's demanding that he shake his hand in a really smug way might well go fuck you and just shoot him. But Waltz, just that character wouldn't. I don't think that character would be too smart. Fine. I'll swallow my pride and do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've also got to keep in mind that this guy is
Wouldn't you?
Well, he's like a bounty hunter, isn't he? He knows an evil man when he sees one. So I don't know whether that's supposed to feed into it. He knows that, even though DiCaprio has not done anything wrong per se.
Well, I just think he finds him so odious, doesn't he? He's so disgusting a human being.
Yeah.
He can't lower himself to shake his hand.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
And I, in most situations, wouldn't either. But if it's right, either shake the Nazi's hand or you die and everyone else dies. I mean, at that point, I'm swallowing my ethics and fine.
Nah.
I'll shake the Nazi's hand.
Fuck yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. So most characters
you get a big old shootout and it's fun.
Yeah, but he's asking you as a person in that situation as opposed to, as an audience member, I'm absolutely fine with
Django Unchained, the less you think about it, the better in a way.
It's fun.
It is fun. And I've got as a note here, I don't know where I stand on the gratuity.
it's great.
No, I've got saying it's okay because they're slave traders is sketchy because Tarantino created the conditions, not of slavery, but of his world.
You know, he has some dodgy ties.
I know.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, who cares? Maybe the violence doesn't need to be justified. As he says in that interview, she's like, why are you film so violent, Quentin? He's like, because it's so much fun, man.
Yeah.
And he's a child. We've discussed how much of a child
he is.
But who cares? It's fun. I don't really... You can say, he picks easy targets, he picks Nazis and he picks racists. People we don't mind seeing getting torn limb from limbs. Yeah. That's completely okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The Manson family.
I would say, hands down, one of the best things about Inglourious Basterds is the way they play with like Hitler and everything.
Yeah, when it just becomes alternate history.
It's the most exploitative, not exploitative, but like exploitational shot of all time. But Eli Roth, or whoever it is, shooting off Hitler's face is pure movie magic.
Yes.
It is. Fuck yeah, I sort of don't care because I don't want to be a Ponzi kind of, I don't know where I stand on the violin. Who cares? It's a movie.
To be fair, this made my list because it's fun. And
really fun.
And it's Tarantino.
I forgot how much fun it is.
Yeah.
I dare say in the fewer than 10 years that have elapsed since then, I don't think he'd as easily be able to make Django Unchained now as he could even in 2012.
No, not at all.
I think there would just be more questions like you can't do this.
Yeah.
Well, there was enough questions with some of the things. As soon as it came out that he was doing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and it was going to involve the Mansons, there was enough questions about that.
Yeah, people panicked a bit, didn't they?
And then he had a flamethrower and he burnt someone's face off in a pool. And it was fun.
He knows how to kill a person, doesn't he?
Yes.
Tarantino.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I mean, he rips off everything he ever does from other films, to be fair. But, yes. Yeah, like going back to this idea of is the violence justified, which feels like you're sort of speaking about it on the wrong level almost.
Yeah.
So that made me think, maybe this isn't art, it's entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think to consider it a work of art is kind of doing it a disservice in a way. Like, it feels almost like a criticism to say it's not art. But no, it's just different. It's like Marvel and, cinema. They're two different things.
Tarantino is his own kettle of fish.
Yeah, and I will say, we went to see Django Unchained, didn't we, in the cinema?
We did, yeah.
That felt like it was an event going to see a Tarantino. I think it's the only one we've ever been to see in the cinema.
Yeah, because I think we turned 18 around about the time that film came out.
We would have done,
it was probably our first 18 in the cinema.
I think because I would have turned 18 in the December of 2012, and it came out on January 13 for us.
Yes, it did.
So yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Wow, you had a decent first 18.
Yeah. Jonah Hill's presence is a little bit distracting.
Yeah.
It's like, look, it's Jonah Hill, because it's not a character. Like,
it's Jonah Hill for the sake of Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit strange.
What do you think is the biggest problem with the film?
It's not the biggest problem in the film, but one of the notes I've got written down, because I got around to this one.
Oh,
I saw this one,
good.
fellas.
Fucking
I
hell,
actually did the homework. I just think, this is like a criticism of all cinema, we need to retire the Wilhelm scream.
Okay. It's okay in Django.
It's too distracting.
It's okay in Django because, it's calling back to those sorts of films.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
as soon as I heard it, I was out of the film. Just instantly.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't you just accept it as part of like the sonic tapestry of cinema? Like, it's just a part of that. Like,
The thing is, like,
No, do not retire the Wilhelm scream.
No, I was going to say the thing is, like, if you watch enough films and if you're sort of paying attention to, because I'm an editor or an aspiring editor, so I'm sort of familiar with like post-production and stuff like that. You tend to notice when people are like using stock sound effects and stuff.
Yeah,
that's something that like in the past few years I've started to notice. There's always like the same like sound of like a metal door opening, or like when they're using like stock crowd effects and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Wilhelm scream is one of the few things that Hollywood is like deliberately using. Other films deliberately use the Wilhelm scream. It's like, it's a joke, we're using the Wilhelm scream, and it's just too much at this point.
Okay.
It might just be a thing for me, like a criticism that I have.
He said the word Wilhelm scream like 7 times.
Yeah, it might just be a criticism I have, but
yeah.
I as soon as I hear it in anything, even if it's like appropriate,
right,
there probably is an argument to be made about.
Yeah,
you can use the Wilhelm scream in Django Unchained, but whenever I hear it now, it's just like, oh, I'm at the film now.
Okay, no, I definitely don't have that.
Okay.
But yeah, we all know it when we hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say it's ever taken me out of a thing. My brain, a percentage of it goes, oh, it's the Wilhelm scream. And then it's kind of, right, well, my biggest, it goes on way too long.
Yes, it does. I will agree to that. Yeah. I will completely and utterly agree.
I mean, that shootout that's brought on by Volt's killing DiCaprio, that should have been the end.
Make that your final set piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too... I was...
The film, for me, should have ended with that happening and then him walking away.
Yeah, I mean, it's deeply appropriate that Tarantino shows up in the part of the film where it's going on too long. He comes to announce, it's gonna with the worst Australian accent ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking drag this past upon a now routine.
Yeah, well, I was watching it because obviously it's 2 hours 45, I think.
Yeah.
It's a long film.
Yeah.
So I was watching it because I've seen it a bunch of times already. So I was kind of watching it with the mind of, okay, I'm a script editor and I have to cut this down a bit.
Yeah.
What do I get rid of? And yeah, definitely that shootout in the house brought on by Volt's killing, that should have been like the end of the film.
Yeah.
Because when the film sort of carries on after that scene, you feel like the momentum sort of drain from you. You feel the moment where you're just like, I'm not really with the film anymore. Yeah, we've peaked, you know?
We have. I get why they do it. They do it because you've got to kill the mental character so that the mentee can become who he is. You know, I get that. Yeah,
because it's not superfluous. Things that were set up earlier pay off during this portion of the film. So it's not like, oh, the film ended and then there's a little bit more. You know?
No, yeah. I mean, it's the same with Kill Bill. When Bill starts talking about comic books, when they're at his house and like, again, we haven't seen Bill for 4 hours, so we want to get as much of him as we can.
Yeah.
But he just starts talking about why he likes Superman, and you're going, oh, Quentin. It's a neat little idea. Write a book or a fucking blog about. Just don't put it in the film. I've been here for 4 hours, and yeah, like with Django. Yes, the whole Australian miners thing is like, why is this here? Why have you cast yourself in a role where you have to do an Australian accent, which you can't do? I guess because you want to get a shot with, holding the dynamite. You wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I get it on a structural level of like, right, his mentor's been killed. He now has to rise from the ashes, wear the gaudy blaxploitation outfit, and kill all the, the white supremacists. But yeah, there was a way of splicing that together with the...
Yes.
Because Waltz didn't need to die. It's not like it had to happen for that story.
No, I feel like that's probably... Keeping in mind that obviously all of Tarantino's films draw heavy inspiration from genre films and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
He was going to die. I don't think he was ever going to survive that.
Okay, no. But maybe not when he did. Like, those two could have taken on the house, and then Waltz got killed just in like the, that battle, basically. He didn't need to die and then have Jamie Foxx single-handedly take down everyone.
I suppose not, but...
Because that's certain, that's another cliche of the genre, is the two bounty hunters,
yes,
going on different adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tarantino is dreadful in it. But he is dreadful in kind of everything.
Yeah.
It does go on for too long. It would have been longer because there's a whole bit with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it that they just took out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So after he's destroyed the house and killed Sam Jackson and all that, and he's he's Django now and he's showing off and he's like smiling with a cigarette and everything. Okay, and then he just gets in his horse and he just starts doing tricks on his horse.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it's checking your watch. Yeah.
Like, I get it. You're cool now.
Yeah.
Just fucking blow the house up and then ride off.
Yeah.
Don't just stop.
Yeah, but he's cool.
Because it's weird. It's
you
weird.
said it yourself.
It's
cool.
weird because the cut. It just cuts to the horse, and he's doing like the fucking walking trick with it.
Yeah.
And it's a comic shot because you're just sitting there going, "Why have you done this? Why have you included this in the film?"
It's Tarantino. His thought process is, "Why the fuck not?"
I know that, and indulgence can be fun, but just cut it down. Just cut it down.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was so that he can have share a moment with his wife now that they're sort of free of this evil, at least for now.
I guess it's funny
because he's showing off to his wife, isn't he?
He is showing off to his wife.
Yeah.
I think she's quite empowered. Well, she is sort of empowered by that point, right?
Yeah.
Because when he blows it up, doesn't she like very coolly like put her hand over her eyes or something like
finger
that?
in her ears.
Finger in her ears.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but if he was acting like that, and I hadn't seen him for however long it is, it's like, oh my god, he's become a psychopath. He's become a sadist.
I don't know, just the fact that he's killing white men.
He kills Sam Jackson.
He does kill Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
but Sam Jackson had
Sam Jackson was trying to get a lot of other black people killed.
Yeah, they kind of make a point that like the position Sam Jackson occupies, he's like lowest of the low, you know. He kills blacks and he treats blacks.
He's
like
lowest of low
well.
morally. Okay, yeah. He is what you call Uncle Tom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not we would call Uncle Tom, but
exactly. Yeah, that's where the term would apply.
Yeah. And finally, just the production design. I love the production design of it.
Oh, it's a gorgeous film.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous film. Of course, Tarantino still shoots on film.
He does.
Absolutely. Keep shooting on film, Quentin. Yeah. No, not that you were planning on quitting, but...
the squibs.
I mean, he might have only one more if he.
The squibs are completely over the top and ridiculous, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's just so stupid.
It's great. The first time you see it, when it's the first scene where he sort of purchases Django and then shoots the captors.
Yeah,
and it's just like you're not expecting just the explosion.
Yeah.
He only shoots him in the leg, and his blood and bone just explodes out of him. It's great.
What's the scene where I think it must be the final gunfight in the house where someone keeps getting hit, and it's just like it's like a bus going through a puddle. It's just like splashing continually.
I think that's that's what we say should be the climax.
Okay.
Scene.
Yeah.
And there's like a guy at the front door that is sort of in between the gunfire, and he's getting shot in the knee. And he's just screaming
as it's spraying up the walls. Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
No, it's fantastic. I also like because Tarantino is a very indulgent individual.
He is.
I feel like when it comes to constructing a scene, that's not something that I would change about him. Because scenes do go
set
on.
Pieces, he's amazing at set pieces.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's not... It's from Inglourious Bastards, but, you know, the opening scene of Inglourious, it's like a staple of cinema at this point, I would say.
Yeah, with the exception of Reservoir Dogs, when you think of a Tarantino film, you think of scenes.
Yeah.
You think of those scenes from Inglourious Bastards. The film is just... sounds stupid to say it's a series of scenes. Of course it is, but you know what I mean? Like, a series of set pieces, I suppose. Yeah, Django, you think of the dinner scene.
Yeah.
Inglourious, obviously the milk scene.
Yeah.
You think of the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like conversational set pieces.
Yeah. He just knows how to pace a scene.
Rhythm.
Yeah.
He writes the music, doesn't he?
He does.
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
In Pulp Fiction, the thing I always think of at least is Vincent and Jules, like just they're chatting before they go in for the hit.
Yeah.
He's great at dialogue set pieces. You can't you can't take that away from him. But they all do speak like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. All of Aaron Sorkin's characters talk like Aaron Sorkin.
Very true.
You know,
don't slam Sorkin now.
No, it wasn't. that was my point. But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, looking at it as a script doctor, like, what do I cut? You can only cut scenes. You can't cut dialogue. I don't think from Tarantino.
No. Yeah, you cut bits, strands. Yeah.
Because he like purchases Django, frees Django, and then they go to like this. I think it's Daughtry, Texas. It's like this small, typical Western town. And initially, I was like, okay, this is like cool, and it's like a cool introduction to Waltz and like what he does. But then it's followed by the scene where they hunt down the Brittle Brothers. Yeah, and it's like, well, surely this scene would also serve that purpose. We don't need the Daughtry scene. Although there was a cool detail that I noticed that I didn't notice until this most recent rewatch, and that is that Django's saddle and like get up when he becomes like a co-bounty hunter with Christoph Waltz, all of that stuff is sort of made for him in Daughtry. Oh, right. Presumably as like a thank you for you know, the fact that their sheriff was like a criminal and he like helped. So I thought like, oh, that's a nice, because the film doesn't draw attention to that. So it's like, oh, that's a nice detail. And it's sort of like, because of that, like, okay, you can keep that scene. You know?
Yeah, it's more about fusing scenes, isn't it? Like, you could achieve a little bit of that scene with a little bit of that scene.
Yes.
Put them together. Yeah. But I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it, is, right, what do I cut?
Yeah.
Because the most obvious diversion is the Don Johnson stuff. But I love that stuff.
It is, really,
I love Don Johnson.
And it's got that shot as well, isn't it? Where it's like him in the blue against and it's like, that's the shot.
Boy.
Yeah. Also that quote as well.
Was that Django?
That is Django.
Okay.
Django. Good song.
Django.
Sure. Oh, yes, it's me now. Sorry. I'm completely losing track of where we're at. My number 6 is Mad Max Fury Road. It is the 4th installment in the Mad Max series, although it's basically got no connection to the Mad Max series.
I haven't seen the others anyway.
No. Just like people know the name Mad Max, you don't need to see any of the first 3. It's not even the same actor playing Max.
No, it's got Tom Hardy in it.
It stars Tom Hardy as the titular Mad Max, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic landscape, which is brought about by an oil crisis, which leads to nuclear war. That's all just backstory, world-building stuff. And Max is sort of like captured by the servants of this tyrant known as Immortan Joe, and he has an imperator. I don't know what equivalent, but she's basically like, one of his like trusted generals, I suppose.
Yeah.
And she is on a routine run to get supplies. She sort of goes off on her own path, and it becomes clear that she has smuggled out Immortan Joe's prize breeding women. And the film is about them chasing down Furiosa, Imperator Furiosa, try and get the women back. And Mad Max himself is kind of caught up in the middle of this. It's a good film. I recommend it. It's a good film. Do you want to say more? I don't really know where to start. I don't really know where to start with Mad Max. It's been described by many people as one long action sequence. I definitely see... There are there are quieter moments, and there are a lot of loud moments, and there are some quieter moments, but yeah. You kind of start with like an introductory action scene for Max, then they kind of introduce like Joe and Furiosa and all these other characters, and then Furiosa kind of sets off on her journey, and then the film basically doesn't stop until the climax. It's just that one. It is literally just them chasing Furiosa for the entire film, and all of the people that have come along with her for the ride. I keep saying Furiosa because there is an argument to be made that she's sort of the main character of the film. Max Max is just kind of there. By design.
He's just connective tissue, basically.
Yeah. Which was a complaint that when the film originally came out, but people who would know better than I have said that that's kind of what Mad Max films are anyway. He just kind of shows up and things happen.
Especially this one, it's very clearly a feminist tract.
Yes.
Not in an annoying way, I will say.
No. Yeah, it's a good example of feminism done right. Yeah. Because Furiosa she's not like, there's no grandstanding. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Charlize Theron is very good.
She's very good. Yeah, she plays Furiosa. She's fantastic. Right, Tom Hardy. You don't like Tom Hardy, do you?
I don't.
You liked Tom Hardy once.
I did. I liked him a lot.
And now you don't.
You broke my heart.
Explain.
Okay, so I like Tom Hardy. Bronson, he's amazing. That was his breakout role.
Mm-hmm.
Inception, that's great, obviously. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which almost made my list. He's great in that. And then he did The Dark Knight Rises. And ever since then, he's pretty much exclusively played menacing, hulking,
shithouses,
mumbling shithouses. And I was like, just try something different.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of... It's a Peaky Blind... Okay, Legend is probably the kind of end point of this. Where he's doing that, isn't he? He can barely fucking speak properly. He's doing that, and then I came here for a fucking gunfight or whatever it is. But Peaky Blinders, that's now quintessential Hardy, which is you get right up in your grill and be really fucking aggressive, and then go really quiet because he's fucking unhinged. Yeah, that's what he does now.
Okay,
and I wish he would stop it because it's irritating. Just do something different. His best performance he's given is in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, where he just plays a bloke, a vulnerable bloke who's worried that the woman he's in love with has been killed.
That's it. If you're talking of films he's done since, Venom is...
Oh, Venom. Yeah, Venom. Oh, fucking Venom.
Yeah. And they're doing another one.
They're doing another one, yeah. Oh, The Revenant.
Yeah.
So, dude, it's okay to enunciate. Like, people who are menacing can enunciate.
Yes.
I would say he spent time training proper English, and
yeah.
Now
he couldn't speak though. He's got a weird mongrel accent.
It does.
It's been ruined by international travel, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like London Street at points. It's really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not a major fan of Hardy.
Okay.
So yeah, his reduction in Fury Road is just a positive to me.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. His voice changes constantly throughout the film.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this was an intentional choice or not, because it changes so frequently. There's a bunch of times in which it's very he's speaking very gruffly, and he's doing the typical Tom Hardy mumble, and you can barely understand what he's saying. And then there are moments where he's like clearly enunciating and he's like trying to speak clearly.
Yeah.
There's even a moment, I noticed this, where I think it's like it's the moment before they go into the gorge where they meet like the motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to file off the cage that's like attached to his face, and he sees what's going on. And he kind of leans across to Furiosa and he's like, nah, stay out of there. And it's weird. It's almost like
Banish, that was almost.
No, like the thing that I keep thinking of is like Tom Hanks, like Forrest Gump Tom Hanks for some reason.
All right.
It's very weird.
That is not what you just impersonated.
No, I know it's not what I impersonated. Yeah, but it is that kind of like that. Yeah, it's weird. It's but yeah, I always think of like Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks when I hear that delivery. It's the only time that in the film.
Mama always said mediocre.
Okay, maybe not Forrest Gump. Maybe I'm just thinking Forrest Gump because Tom Hanks.
Okay.
But yeah, it had a bit of like a Tom Hanks vibe to it.
Okay.
What? Why is that happening? And that's the thing. I don't know if that's just because Tom Hardy didn't really have anything to work with.
Right.
And also we'll get onto the sound design in a moment, but his voice is typically very like, it doesn't sound like it even belongs in the environment that it's from.
Right.
That he's like occupying. And again, I don't know whether that's intentional or not.
I don't know. I mean, wasn't the film shot over years?
There is that as well, but I feel like your main character's voice is something that you would make sure to get right.
Tom Hardy, we're talking here.
Yeah.
Who, voice-wise, is not always the most consistent. I mean, what is Bane's voice?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
What is Bane's voice? What is it supposed to be?
I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's
that prison that he was like born in, quote unquote, that's in like Morocco, isn't it?
Yeah. It's in Morocco. He's obviously incredibly Caucasian.
And it sort of becomes very posh at points, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Very kind of clipped and pronounced. Yeah, I don't know. I suspect that George Miller was like, listen, you're basically monosyllabic. When you speak, it doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, he's got barely any dialogue.
Yeah.
This isn't like, there aren't long monologues in which he's suddenly switching between gruff and,
Yeah, there are no Mad Max soliloquies.
No, exactly. There's very few. I think there's only like one or two like dedicated dialogue scenes in the film. The rest of it is just kind of like things said amongst the action, almost.
Yeah.
And the action does do most of the talking. This is a film that was storyboarded before it was scripted, which is something I would not usually advocate.
No.
But I feel like in this instance, it was absolutely the
for
way
an
to
action
go.
movie. Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially an
100%.
action movie like this, which is so. I imagine that it would have to be so intricate because even though the environment that they're surrounded by is very barren, it's not like you have to worry about continuity when you're out in the middle of the desert. You have all these like layers of like cars, and like towards the end, that final action sequence where people are like jumping between vehicles, and that's something you really need to sit down and work out.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the story is not complicated. It's basically a fairy tale, really. It's like there's the bad guy up on the mountain. We go away from the bad guy on the mountain, and then we're gonna go back and stop the bad guy from getting to his kingdom.
Well, it reminds me of Speed, obviously, just in the way that it's vehicle based and very quick.
Yeah.
But also the way the plot works. It's dun dun dun. It's just into that, and it just carries going. Yeah, Mad Max basically is they drive out to a certain point and then they drive back.
Yeah, that's basically
that is the film.
That is the film.
Yeah.
Incredibly simple.
Yeah.
They drive to a place. The place isn't what they expected it.
Yeah.
So they drive back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
That's it. That is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I'd like to touch on Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, he's good in it.
He's very good in it.
Very good in it.
Yeah. I feel like the film wouldn't work as well without him. He's sort of like an understated element of it.
Yeah.
Because he sort of plays
watching him spray himself with silver shit or whatever it is, and then screaming for Valhalla.
Yeah. Witness me! It's great. I love the energy.
He never makes
it.
He literally like never makes it to Valhalla.
Yeah, he's like the runt of the litter, isn't
he? Yeah, he plays like a war boy, which are the followers of this Immortan show, who's not doing too well. He's not in a good state.
He needs a blood bag.
Yes, Max is like he's a universal donor, and he's sort of attached to Nicholas Hoult, which is how he gets roped into the action. They literally like tie him to the front of their vehicle.
Yeah. I like the lack of explanation for the universe. The things just exist. Again, it's like a comic book almost.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's this utter fetishization of cars.
Yes.
Which makes sense in like oil and diesel would be sparse.
Yeah.
I get that. But the whole like the guy who looks through the telescope, the deformed guy, and just all those massive women that are constantly like giving
milking farms and stuff.
Like the bullet farm. There's no explanation for it.
No,
at all. I love that.
Yeah,
it's just the universe.
There's quite a good bit, like particularly that area is quite like steampunk and.
Well, interesting you bring that up.
Oh, there you go.
This isn't quite a Sam's lexicon, I don't think.
Okay.
But I was trying to think
because I don't have the keyboard with me.
I was trying to think of what is the aesthetic of this film. It's not quite steampunk because that's all Victorian cogs.
Yeah.
It's not quite diesel punk, and it's obviously not cyberpunk. So I've had to invent a word.
Yeah.
I'm calling it motorpunk.
Motorpunk.
Yeah. Which is all about cars and revving and steam and cogs, Not cogs, but motors.
Yeah.
And the smell of diesel and things being on fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is a really great film. I think the only reason it kind of, not the only reason, but one of the reasons it wouldn't made into my list, it kind of like The Raid, where it's sort of like really enjoyable, but you don't take much from it. I don't think.
Oh no, it's very It is entertainment, pure and simple.
It is. It is entertainment, and it's perfectly made.
Yes,
it's so well made.
Yeah,
it's not just a good action film; it's an outstanding.
Oh yeah,
action
absolutely.
Film.
Yeah, it's definitely because it manages to tell its story through the action, which I think is something a lot of action films fall down on. Is you could sort of like have bad action films will have like unmotivated action scenes, or you'll have like an action scene and then you have the bit where it's like, okay, we're talking now. Now we're kind of waiting for the next action scene to start. Now the action scene is happening.
Yes.
Whereas with Mad Max, you just don't have that. They found a way of like weaving the... And yes, it's a very simple narrative, so it probably wasn't hard to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, they found a way of like weaving the narrative through the action. So you're not going to get bogged down with exposition, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are like nice details about... I like the way that like the language is kind of subtly changed.
Yeah.
Like they call gasoline guzzling, and he's called Immortan Joe when he's clearly supposed to be like Immortal Joe.
Yeah.
And that's obviously because that's just like a feature of their universe. It's not something they really discuss or bring up.
Yeah.
But I like that the film is like throwing in all these little details just to make it like that sort of like...
Yeah, it's kind of and I don't mean this in the derogatory sense at all. It has a very spastic energy to it.
Yeah.
In which like...
Oh, the film just like grabs you by the lapels and just screams at you.
Yeah, but like the whole thing, like guzzling, it's very kind of like almost juvenile in a way. Not juvenile, but like, I guess. What's that? Is it Borderlands? Which I'm sure was inspired by Mad Max to some degree. But that kind of energy where it's just fucking bonkers.
Maybe Borderlands does kind of do that.
Yeah.
Doom I was thinking of.
Doom as well,
the more
that's all
recent
revvy
Doom.
and kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, like Doom where they... one of the main instruments they use on the soundtrack is chainsaws. Yeah, that kind of like...
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because the new game, the composer Mick Gordon, he put out a casting call for heavy metal screamers because apparently the new soundtrack is going to feature heavy metal orchestras, or instead of like choral voices, it's like metal screamers.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
So,
I want to see how that happens. He pulls that off.
You can't not talk about the guitarist.
No, that's one of my notes. Is I fucking hate the guitarist.
Do you?
I love the detail.
Who I think is the composer. I think that's Junkie
okay.
XL. Yeah.
Right. No, I love that idea.
Yeah.
And he's like their war band.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate him. Just always just like they're just doing his thing. Like, oh, die. And he doesn't get, as I remember, a particularly satisfying death. Doesn't he just get caught up in like a collision or something?
Yeah, you don't see him die, but his death is
so
implied.
need to see him die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking because you see the guitar.
Yeah, sort of like come towards the screen. Yeah.
Oh, I hate him. Oh, he's fucking twisting his head. Is it a bass or is it an actual guitar?
No, I think it's a guitar.
It's a guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate him.
Flamethrower guitar. Just shooting out the...
do you like him, do you?
Yeah, it's great.
Do you like him?
He does annoy me.
Yeah.
But I do. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no,
that's cool.
I love the idea of it. That he's got like, he's an intimidation tactic on Joe's part, but he's just like they've got a whole like huge rig dedicated to like these drummers and a guitarist just to like scare off the enemy.
Well, I mean, as far as I was concerned, he was the main villain of the film. I thought they'd kill off Immortan Joe quite quickly.
Yeah,
and he'd become the.
I don't love him.
Yeah,
I like that he's there. I think he's a good inclusion.
Yeah,
and he's one of the more like some of the more memorable iconography.
He's one of the icons of the film. Yeah.
But I'm surprised you hate him so much.
Oh, I hate him.
I don't see how you could react so negatively to it.
Just the way he moves
Okay.
It's like too much. I know like I said, it's a very amped up, pumped up film.
Yeah.
But just like the way it's the spasmodic way that he's throwing his head about. And just like, yeah, fuck, it's obnoxious, you know.
Okay.
I know. Again, it's
well, it kind of supposed to be.
I know it's an obnoxious film, and it's not like in the best way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really wish that someone would just cut his head off with a chainsaw. Yeah, and it ends with a quote, which like no.
It ends with a quote from the universe of the film.
Oh,
I
does
believe.
it?
Yeah, it's not even a real quote. I think it's.
It starts with "Where must we go?" That's all I know.
Yeah, where we must be. Oh, I can't remember what it is, but the credit is the first history man.
Right.
Which is. I don't know whether they are playing on an actual quote or not, whether it's like a misquote of an existing quote. Okay. But the first history man is obviously like an in-universe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I just thought it was a quote. In which case, I forgive it a bit more. But like, you don't need to end Mad Max with a quote.
Yeah, that felt strange.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
Whether that was you were supposed to come out of it with like feeling like you've got more out of it than you have. Yeah. But it's like, it's okay, Mad Max. It's okay just to be like a thrilling, entertaining romp, and that's sort of it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Because when I think of this film, I think of the filmmaking. I don't think of the story or anything like that. Yeah, the sound design. It's a very furious, if you will, like sound design. It's, you know, it is kind of like car revving and like very loud and brash, and but there are some moments where I feel like it doesn't like. I don't know if it's bad sound design or whether it's just like something that was lost in translation. Okay. The first couple of times Furiosa speaks, she's very clearly ADR'd. And like the first few times that Max speaks, he's very clearly ADR'd. And I don't quite know why. Because like Furiosa, presumably the reason you would ADR her is because she's inside a truck and it's really loud. But then again, most of the film takes place inside the truck. And also, the first time you hear Max on the car, you can barely hear him over the car. Yeah. So I don't know why.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know, honestly. I mean, I'm keyed into those things to a certain degree. You more so because you are an editor. I'm more of a writer, so I tend to look at films from a script perspective.
Yeah.
Unless it's a raid or, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I try and sort of zero those things out in a way, but I know what you mean. There are moments where it does feel arch. I'm putting that down to just not reshoots, but like how difficult that shoot was, and you know.
And I imagine that sounds for the audio for the film was probably built entirely from scratch.
Oh yeah,
there's a moment where the truck is on fire and like Furiosa drops the it wouldn't be a snow plow, but like a sand plow, I suppose, into the sand, and that sort of shoots sand over the engine, and then it zooms in on the engine, and the engine like opens up. And it sounds like someone breathing. Right. So the sound design, there's moments like that where it's sort of like stylized. I don't know how else to describe it. Where it's clearly not the native sound.
There's an artifice to it.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of that. And that definitely helps tell the story. I think the sound design is sort of like an unsung hero of this film. Yeah. Despite the criticisms I've just made.
Did it win the Oscar?
I think it did. Okay. I think it won most of the technical Oscars the year that it was out.
Yeah. Which not cinematography.
No. What did win?
The Revenant. Which is cheating.
Yeah.
Mad Max would be as well, a little bit, to be fair, but not nearly as much.
No, it wouldn't be. Yeah. No. My one more point. There's very obviously day for night in this film. Right. Now, I'm not like a huge... I can put up with day for night for the most part. It is distracting if you're like in this environment that's very clearly supposed to be like dark, and you see like clear shadows where the sun is and everything. Yeah.
You're talking about the scene where they've got to pull over.
There's two scenes, but there's the scene on the marsh where they have to pull over.
And Max goes off to
sort out the head of the bullet farm.
I know what you mean.
And then there's like a scene later on where they kind of like, you know, they found the place they've been going towards, but as you said, Eddie, it turns out to not be what they're looking for. Yeah. And they have another scene at night, and again you can just see like the shadows are too harsh and the reflection in the puddles are too clear.
You're right.
Pitch black.
Thinking back on it, yes, those scenes have always seemed off to me, and now I know why.
Yeah. Because it's a very saturated film as well. I think George Miller said in an interview, with post-apocalyptic films, there's two ways you can go. You can just boost the colours, so everything is really bright and colourful, or you do it in black and white. You just drain all the colour out of it.
And there is a black and white version available, right?
There is a black and white version, which I haven't seen. Yeah. I can't imagine I would prefer this film in black and white.
Oh, no.
I think the color really adds something to it, especially with like the variety of like what's on display.
And it wasn't designed in black and white.
No, it wasn't designed in black and white either. Yeah.
No, but because I would say it's in that sort of vein. So for me, my favourite film is It's a Wonderful Life, and they did a colour version of. They colorised that. I can't stand watching it in colour.
No, it's bastardised. It wasn't designed as a colour film.
Absolutely can't stand it.
It's like watching a bad English dub of a foreign film, isn't it? It's like, this is just off. This isn't right.
Yeah, and retrospective 3D.
Yes, that's also
another big thing.
Not good.
Yeah.
I looked up the awards that it won at the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Best sound mixing, best sound editing, best makeup and hairstyling, best costume design, best production design, and best film editing.
Okay, all right.
Deserves all those.
It didn't win visual effects. It didn't win cinematography, director, or picture.
Okay. Yeah, visual effects. I don't know what was up. What was up for visual effects that year?
2015. It lost to Ex Machina.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah, it was up against The Force Awakens, The Revenant, The Martian, Mad Max, and Ex Machina.
No, Ex Machina deserved it.
Fair enough.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, the day for night stuff. To return to it very briefly, the thing, like I said, okay, fine, fair enough. That's the workaround. That's the compromise you've made.
Yeah.
So you've clearly filmed this because you're out in the desert. There's no natural light anywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't film it at night, even if you tried.
Fucking freezing.
And that as well. And they were in like a swampland as well, so the actors, it just wouldn't have been healthy for them to film in that environment.
Yeah.
However, there's a scene earlier in the film where they're in the middle of a sandstorm, and inside the sandstorm there's a lightning. Now, obviously, lightning strikes are blinding, whether you're looking at them with your own eyes or whether you're looking at them through a camera. They just blow out the sensors on the lenses. In a film as frantic as Mad Max, having like these flashes of white would just be way too distracting, and it would just like, it would set off seizures and all that sort of stuff. So what I noticed that Eddie put his hand up then, because you're
Isn't that the most hardcore thing though? We give our audience seizures.
Yeah.
I would not recommend them at all.
No. But yeah, when they're in the middle of the sandstorm, instead of making the image go white when the lightning strikes happen, they make the image go black and white.
Right.
So it sort of mimics, it's sort of in time with the lightning strikes and kind of mimics the effect of a lightning strike without you kind of losing any of the image. Because you can still see what's happening, you can keep the pace of the scene, and that's a really clever workaround for a practical problem, which makes the obvious day for night all the more disappointing, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they could sort of pull like a Skyfall, where you sort of like find a way of incorporating things that will create natural light into the scene, whether it's like a fire or whether there's like lights on the war rig or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or whether do it almost like in night vision. I don't know what you would do to work around.
There's a way of doing it.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, moonlight for one.
Yes, which they do.
Kira,
Yeah, they kind of rotoscope the moon into the scene, so it's clearly supposed to be moonlight, but we live in the South Wales valleys. I've been on top of mountains in the pitch black when it's just the moon in the sky.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as bright as the film.
Yeah. It kind of looks twilighty in the film when it's supposed to be night, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Almost like evening time, like it's getting dark,
Yeah, they just turned the brightness down and like made the image blue.
Yeah.
It's clearly still the daytime,
Yeah.
But other than that, solid film. Definitely recommend.
But you found a critique, that's good.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My number 6 is Whiplash, which we can't talk about yet.
We cannot talk about it.
I'm having an easy time with this.
So my number 5 is Nightcrawler.
Okay. Which was my number 7.
Yes. So Nightcrawler.
My number 12. Or 13.
Okay.
I couldn't even say the word Nightcrawler. My Nightcrawler. So Nightcrawler. Do you know, I forgot. You told me his name because I couldn't remember it.
Lou Bloom is the
Lou
character's
Bloom.
name,
Yeah. So
Lou Bloom, who plays Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, he plays Jake. Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal plays Lou Bloom, who.
He's a chancer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of between jobs.
Yeah.
But essentially, he's a chancer, and he decides he witnesses someone involved in video news and decides to basically get involved because a nightcrawler is someone who shoots footage and then sells it to the early morning news
Yeah,
teams.
you tend to find that they roam the streets at night, hence nightcrawler, recording accidents or various crimes taking place, and then they sell them to
and
news stations.
They sort of
the
race
footage.
each other.
Yeah.
They race each other to get to the scenes of accidents and murders.
Yeah,
and
because
that
obviously
sort
you
of
want the best footage.
Yeah, usually they've got police scanners and
Yeah, and they generally kind of so that they kind of occupy a strata on the underbelly of society. They're obviously not very rich, but they're sort of considered annoying pests by most of the people they encounter.
Well, yeah, because
police hate them.
Yeah, they're sort of poking in on fresh crime scenes, aren't they?
Yeah, they're vultures. That's what they are.
Yeah. The better the footage, the more money you can make from it.
Yeah,
and also
the more what's the word? What's the newsy word? I think of it. Carry on.
It's the most up close and personal.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, he ventures into sort of this industry, ends up overtaking his main competitor. He sort of sets up an accident for him.
Yes.
And then but it sort of follows him going through different crime scenes, which involves him getting his own assistant killed.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
He doesn't
as well,
think his assistant is committed enough.
Yeah, as the film goes on, he starts to take extreme measures to get the best footage possible.
Yes,
the most sensational.
Sensational, that's the word. Yes, so he sort of starts to manipulate crime scenes to make it look more sensationalized than the crime actually was.
Yes, a particular example is there's a home invasion. He witnesses the people leave and then cuts that out of his footage.
Yeah.
So
sort of withholds it so that he can if they perform future crimes, he's sort of got recurring business, isn't he?
Yeah, yes. Which does happen and involves a shootout.
Yeah.
In a cafe, is it a coffee shop?
Yeah, it's a diner.
Diner.
Yeah.
So, but it's Jake Gyllenhaal. I can never remember the actor's name for the assistant.
Riz Ahmed.
Riz Ahmed.
Yeah.
His first big American role, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a moment I just want to bring up briefly because it's not really a thing with the film, but there's a moment in the trailer because when he withholds that footage, that's kind of the moment where the police start showing an interest in him.
Yeah.
And there's a moment in the trailer where he's in an interview room with a police officer / detective, whatever. And she's like, I think you withheld information. And sort of deflecting the question, Jake Gyllenhaal goes, that would be criminal. And she goes, it would be murder. And there's a moment in the trailer where the music goes doo-doo, after
okay.
And it's not kind of, the film isn't like that at all. But it always makes me laugh when I see that beat in the trailer. Because it just cuts back to his face and he's just kind of listening intently as the music goes doo-doo.
In fact, considering this is these are spoiler discussions, isn't that the penultimate scene, basically?
It's basically the end of the film.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the police are not really a feature of the film.
No,
they show up maybe once or twice.
It's not a case of there's this villainous guy going about his business and then the police slowly cotton on and then pursue him. It's not that at all.
It's kind of like Wolf of Wall Street in that regard, where the sort of the police / law people that are kind of after them, they show up at kind of every now and again.
Yeah.
Maybe only once or twice during the film.
Because
it's very much from his perspective, isn't it?
Yes.
The film is from the perspective of Lou Bloom, who's this very strange character, isn't he?
He lost weight for the role and everything.
Well, Gyllenhaal's always been one of those. He's like Christian Bale in that sense. He'll just change everything about him.
I think he's the original. I'm not sure whether it was the original title, but it was definitely one of the titles. Was Coyote, I think.
Okay.
And so he tried to physically embody a coyote.
Oh, okay.
To the point where he made himself hungry.
Yes.
It's that whole method acting thing. Being on set. He was physically hungry, and he hoped that would kind of come across in the character's hunger for fame and money.
It does. He looks grotty.
He looks horrible. Because Jake Gyllenhaal's quite big eyes anyway.
Yeah.
And so when he has a very hollow, shallow face, the eyes.
Yes, because you can you can basically see bone.
And he's sort of
all eyes and no bone.
Yeah, well, he's deliberately bug-eyed as well. Does he blink throughout the entire film?
There's not much if he does.
Yeah.
He's a very intense guy.
That would be intentional, though, obviously.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. It's one of those performances where you can tell every minute detail of the character is intended.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of the best performances of the decade.
Yeah.
I would say. Gyllenhaal is one of the finest actors of the decade.
Absolutely.
It's very Taxi Driver. Isn't it? I would say.
Yeah,
it's very
that's a comparison I heard a lot when the film came out. Yeah, he was kind of like the modern day Travis Bickle in a sense.
Yes. So why is it one of the best of the decade?
My general thing usually is there was something about it. Things like
it's kind of it's like an action. It's action. It's like a thriller. It's kind of grotty.
Mm-hmm.
It's set in Los Angeles, but it doesn't
no, it
like Los Angeles. Really, it's not a flattering portrayal of Los Angeles, is it? But it's not in the same way. It's not like Under the Silver Lake, where it's actively like pulling away the veneer of Los Angeles. It's just they kind of like, this is kind of the side of Los Angeles you don't usually see, but it doesn't seem to be too judgmental.
Well, it's about characters who exist at night, who prowl. And I think there's a kind of running theme of that in a sense where also you've got all these night crawlers that are sort of familiar with each other, this little network of competitors.
Yeah.
But also Riz Ahmed, who plays Rick, who Joel takes on as his assistant.
Who's literally just looking for a job and needs to make money.
But he's isn't it? I'm not sure whether it's said outright, but it's implied that he's a gigolo.
Oh, okay.
I could be completely misconstruing that, but my impression was that he's been turning tricks, basically.
Oh, right,
before that. And he definitely comes across like he's not educated.
I don't know. I got the impression that he was just kind of a naive. Like he just moved out there and he was just looking for anything he could get.
Yeah. A guy who just moved out there, didn't really know what he was looking for.
Yeah.
And had to resort to.
Okay.
Basically, I think he's a twink.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
If that is the case.
I don't know whether I've just attached that to it or whether that is kind of suggested.
I mean, I didn't know that, so I don't know.
It feels a weird thing for me to have made up if it isn't.
But it would certainly be an interesting spin on the character anyway.
Yeah. Because he's not educated as he's quite. He's not very well spoken.
No.
Lou just takes him on because he's probably the only guy that applied for the job.
Probably, and also you get the sense that Riz Ahmed's probably going to be easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of the point in the film where Lou Bloom is starting to take drastic action.
Yes,
to get ahead of the competition.
And the moment that he gets a backbone, that's basically when Gyllenhaal decides, well, you're going to die then.
Yes. Yeah.
It's quite a horrible death, really, because it literally, it's like he goes up to the car which is supposed to have one of the gunmen in it. He's like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then he moves away, has his camera out, and then Riz Ahmed approaches, gets shot.
Yeah.
And he just kind of watches him die.
Well, he records it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he records him. Watch it, but it's the way he just watches him record it. Yeah, you're just another one.
Oh yeah, the character is a sociopath.
Yeah,
he's not a psychopath. I would say he's a sociopath.
I mean, he gets angry.
Yeah,
but he doesn't give the suggestion that he feels all that much.
No, yeah.
He's very manipulative.
How would you describe the way he speaks? Because he seems to have a very specific
matter-of-factly.
Yeah, but also he seems to speak almost in
corporatisms.
Corporatisms, that's the word.
Yeah.
Everything is sort of like he's in a business meeting.
Yeah.
Everything he's doing, it's like a transaction.
Yeah, everything's a negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a detail that I like a lot.
Yeah.
The fact that he's trying to he's trying to speak above his pay grade, isn't he? He's trying to talk himself into these situations and these jobs. And I like how I think he's in one of the first scenes he's in, he addresses himself. He says, oh, I was raised as part of the self-esteem generation that was taught that X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And the very kind of objective way he speaks about himself how it betrays how impersonal he is and cold,
Yeah.
He's not a person, he's just like ambition that has a body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
that's what he is. He's pure unbridled ambition.
Yeah, he's kind of like a stand-in for... Because the film is about basically the starting your own business and sort of succeeding.
It is.
At starting your own business.
Yeah.
And he kind of despite the fact that he's a character that we're not as he goes on, we do things that he does things we definitely don't agree with.
Yeah. I would say, is he an anti-hero?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I wouldn't even... I'd say he's a villain. I'd say it's a villain story. He has nothing redeeming about him.
But there's no point in the film where you're kind of, for me at least, it might be different for you guys. There was no point in the film where I felt like, okay, I'm actively rooting for you to fail now.
No.
I recognise that you should be stopped, but I don't want you to fail,
He's interesting is the thing, isn't he? It's not, it's not a villain origin thing like Joker is, for instance.
No.
Even there's a lot to compare the two, I think. They're both inspired by Taxi Driver, but, that sort of thing. But, I think it's... I don't know. It's sort of it's kind of like a dark American dream story, isn't it? An American nightmare almost.
I think in an interview, is it Dan Gilroy, the writer-director?
Yeah.
I think he said in an interview, to him, the Nightcrawler is a story about success. It's a success story,
Right.
essentially, because he successfully starts his own business, and that is the American dream.
Yeah.
You start with nothing, and at the beginning, he's like stealing materials and selling them to a junkyard. He's genuinely got like nothing going for him.
Yeah.
And by the end, he has his own. He has like a contract with this news network, and he has his own like business essentially.
Yeah, but by the end of it, he's a chancellor. He pinches other people's ideas. Like, so it's the character played by Bill Paxton is like, oh, we're gonna have 2 vans, 2 different locations. By the end of it, he's got, is it 2 or 3 vans? Or
I think he's got 2 vans.
Yeah, he's got 2 vans.
The same as Bill Paxton.
He's taken basically that idea because he's recognised it was a good idea.
Yeah,
he's killed the competition.
Yes, literally.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Because there's a story where the police want what he sold to the news network, and the news network basically go, no, we're running this because by this point he's got the lead anchor woman. I don't know her name.
I was going to bring her up because she's an interesting case study as well, isn't she?
Yeah.
Because she sort of becomes the main romantic interest of the film.
If you like.
Yeah,
like.
It's a weird thing because at the start of it, she's the head.
Well, it's a failing network, isn't it?
It is. She's the head of a failing network, but she still seems quite headstrong. And then she meets Lou Bloom and is immediately manipulated.
Well, I think it's a case of she's under pressure, and she has to cede to his demands.
Yeah.
That's the best scene of the film. By the way,
say that the point at the end where he goes, "You want this? This is what I want."
Yeah.
And at that point, he basically goes, "What happened in your apartment? Yeah, that's happening again."
Lines like that are what elevate it for me, alluding to this stuff that's happening off screen.
Yeah, I would say because you don't see certain things
outside of the context of work. They go to dinner together once, and that's all we see.
Where he basically says to her, "You're going to start sleeping with me, or I'm not going to give you footage."
And then through like offhanded lines like that, you see this kind of like what exactly is happening between them. In the sort of like in the gaps between the scenes that we're seeing.
Well, in terms of script, I was going to say that's one of the reasons why it's up there. I think it's a very well written.
It's a fantastic script.
Yes.
Yeah. It's and it does that kind of. It is a showy performance, not distractingly showy, and it's not over the top at all.
No.
But it's a show. The thing I like about it is, we've complained a lot about Joker and how it's like crazy, man. But they do it right in this. Where in Joker, you've got scenes where he's at the comedy club and he's laughing at the wrong moments and it's kind of over the top. And in this, you've got things like where he's monologuing.
Yeah.
She's giving no suggestion that she's going to interrupt him.
Yeah.
And then he takes a long silence and he goes, "I'm not finished." And then carries on speaking. It's like he's just living in a whole different reality.
He's on his whole nother level.
Yeah.
He's clearly written out that script.
Yeah.
He's going to deliver to her.
Yeah.
Anticipating that she's going to like try and butt in. So I'll deliver it as read.
Yeah, you can't
because he's a
deviate from
robot.
it.
He's not,
Yeah, and it's another. I mean, it's like Michael Keaton has a lot of lines in Birdman, for example. This is another. J.J. Gyllenhaal has a lot of lines.
I think he's in like every frame of the film,
pretty
basically.
much.
Yeah,
he is.
Which is part of the appeal of it as well. It's just that you never, because I imagine like if you spent any time away from him, you'd probably start to realize, oh, this guy's like. We shouldn't be rooting for this guy.
No,
you kind of arrive at that later in the film anyway.
He's relentless.
Yeah,
he is relentless,
and the story in that way is unrelenting. It doesn't give you that break.
No. Thinking about it, like if he was inclined slightly differently, I mean, he could be a serial killer, right? And I'm thinking of that because
well,
he basically gets one guy killed.
Yeah,
he's sensible enough not to do it himself. He could,
He does, but he sort of does it in a Daniel Plainview way, doesn't he? Where it's like, oh, just competitors must be destroyed kind of way.
Yeah.
Though there is an ego thing. Clearly, when his ego is threatened, he goes a bit nuts.
Yeah.
But like when he sells his first bit of footage to the news, and then he catalogs it on his laptop, and then whatever headline he manages to get, he catalogs them like trophies, like a killer would. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And is it a montage where it's like, he's becoming successful, and it's showing all of his list of all his things. And there's something like baby shot or something like that. Yeah. And something like one of the headlines is baby shot in face or something like that. Okay. And you're like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
But because it's set to like this dun dun dun, like fast paced music, like he's getting places now. You sort of ignore it.
Yeah.
But when on the rewatch, it's like, oh,
it's
shit.
more of an at points it has a more of an upbeat like score to like counteract the darkness
it's
of what's going on.
It's almost I think at the very end when his masterpiece is revealed.
Yeah,
they play like almost melodramatic romantic music.
Yeah.
Like dreamy, like he's achieved his dream sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Which I've heard as a criticism, but I think it's definitely to stand in opposition to what's happening.
Probably, yeah.
On screen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting though as well because this world of night crawling that he's now kind of like integrating himself into, that existed before him. Like it's not just that this character is vile; the world that he's occupying is vile.
Yeah,
it's almost because he's just kind of driving down the road. And he just happens upon Bill Paxton nightcrawling.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like he was... I think I saw like a video essay on it a while ago where it's like he basically was just like lucky. He found the world that like...
He is a chancer and just gets that luck.
Yeah, he kind of found the thing that in a way he was supposed to be a part of,
See, that's interesting because I would say if he'd been driving down the highway and there'd been another thing at the side of the road, he would have latched onto that. He seems like someone who just will find something.
No, absolutely.
And exhaust it.
Yeah, I think that's the implication at the beginning of the film wants to give, is that he's just been jumping from thing to thing.
Mm-hmm.
But nightcrawling is the one thing that's kind of stuck because as disgusting as his attitude can be, it's kind of perfectly suited to that really gnarly world. And repetitive world as well.
It's like that world that, it's sort of in the same vein as paparazzis, basically.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And not paparazzis, the paparazzi.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
Yeah, and it's kind of you're already dealing with people who have very few moral scruples.
Yeah,
and then they bring in this guy who's like, "Oh, you think you have low standards?"
Yes.
Let me drag that into the muck. Muck.
Yeah, but yeah. As a film, certainly the script is a highlight.
Which begs the question: what happened to him after that?
He definitely just got grottier.
I think he became he's become a millionaire.
Right.
I think he'll go on to become a millionaire.
Oh, no, I meant the writer. I meant Dan Gilroy.
Oh, I see.
Like, what happened to Dan Gilroy after Nightcrawler,
Well, he had that in him, didn't he?
Yeah.
He clearly had that in him. I remember...
I would say, wasn't he writing it for a while, though?
Yeah, I think he co-wrote The Bourne Legacy with his brother.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. And then he did Nightcrawler.
Dan Gilroy, what are you doing, man?
Was Velvet Buzzsaw the thing he did after Nightcrawler?
I think it was. No, wasn't it...
No, it was Roman J. Which is okay.
Yeah. But no, you've got Nightcrawler, which is great. You've got that, which is whatever.
Yeah.
And then you've got Velvet Buzzsaw.
Which isn't good.
Which is, hell of a decline.
He clearly had one... Just think, some of the ideas... I don't want to veer off topic too much, but some of the ideas in Velvet Buzzsaw, I think... like, on the page, this is good. I can see why he thought this was good on the page.
Yeah.
But in execution, not so much.
I don't know what ideas you could possibly be referring to with that.
Well, the idea that art has a legacy, and what if that legacy was kind of physicalized?
Okay.
Again, intellectually, it's kind of sound.
Yeah.
But it's when you actually start imposing a physical framework on that.
Yes.
It just completely falls
Especially
apart.
since, this is not going to become a review of Velvet Buzzsaw.
No.
But yeah, the execution, it's just a complete misfire, I think.
Yeah, but I will. You dislike it a lot more than I do. I think it's an admirable misfire. Because I think it was coming from the right place.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But given its pedigree, in the sense that, this guy wrote Nightcrawler, and given what the film became, in a way it's almost just like, something terrible must have happened here for the script to, fail as much as it has.
Well, I was going to say, the thing with Nightcrawler is the amount of time that was spent on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't.
But, no, but my point being is, imagine the amount of time he spent on Nightcrawler. Imagine he'd spent that amount of time on Velvet Buzzsaw.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm sure after Nightcrawler there was a lot of, well, not pressure, I'm sure, but also, right, you made Nightcrawler, you got an Academy Award nomination. How much money do you want for your next film?
Yeah.
Here you go. It's like, I got this script in the drawer that I wrote 10 years ago. It's fuck it, let's do this. I'll get Gyllenhaal back, It seems like that kind of thing. It's the difficult second album, isn't it? I mean, he had that first album in him for his life.
Yeah.
And then the next album had to just be an idea he had in the intervening year.
Which means, hopefully, album number 3.
Yeah, maybe he'll be a return
technically
to
4 because we're missing Esquire.
We're missing a mediocre film.
Yeah.
But
the script, I think the fact that it is sort of unrelenting, and the character.
Yeah.
You know, certainly the performance from Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, you watch it for its script and its main performance. Although there are good performances supporting it as well.
If you've ever seen Dan Gilroy as well, it's kind of opposite that it's a film about a vulture essentially.
Yeah.
And he looks like a vampire.
Oh, okay.
Google image Dan Gilroy. I think he looks like like an old, not even like a new vampire, like a
Nosferatu.
A Nosferatu type vampire. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like the sound of that.
He's one of the originals, you know.
Yeah.
Fair. But yeah. It's one of the things. I don't know if I really touched on this when we were talking about like 10 through 6, but one of the things with my list was rewatchability was a big thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And Nightcrawler is certainly a film I could watch at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like when we started doing this, there were a couple of films that I just added without thinking. So it's like, well, obviously that film is going to be on that list, and Nightcrawler was one of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't the only question was where is it going to rank, as opposed to is it even going to be included.
Nightcrawler was one of the ones I had to rewatch. I would have had to rewatch anyway to see if that was going to make my list. You know.
Yeah.
It was like one of the 4 vying for 9 and 10 sort of position.
Yeah.
I mean, it ticks a lot of my personal boxes. I love nocturnal LA movies.
Yes.
I love psychodramas.
I was going to say the cinematography I don't think is a standout for Nightcrawler.
No.
Just in terms of like the filmmaking of it.
Who did the cinematography?
I don't even know who did the cinematography.
Okay.
I don't think it's a famous...
I think his brother edited it.
Okay. Apologies to the cinematographer if you are famous. But I don't think it's a famous cinematographer.
Basically, George saying you did a shit job.
No, but that's the thing. You're filming at night in LA. You don't need to put in a good job to make that film.
I mean, I was going to say, as amateur filmmakers, filming at night is not the easiest thing at times.
No, it's not. Yeah, if you have the equipment, then shooting at night, you don't even need to be good. You know, it's just gonna. It's like filming at a beach. It's just gonna look good.
Or you could B-Tech film with a torchlight on your phone.
I think one of the strengths of the film is that the cops in it feel like real cops.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like actors playing cops. They seem like genuine. I
There's-
wouldn't be
they-
surprised if they were cops.
I was about to say
Yeah.
they play such small parts. I wonder
Yeah.
if they just genuinely got
Yeah.
officers or
I would
like
say I've never looked
ex-officers.
that up, actually.
Yeah.
So
But they really feel like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they talk like you, like how you'd expect them to.
But
Yeah.
I was going to say, but it could be... You get TV actors who have played cops for years.
Yeah.
That by the end of it, you get the impression they could be cops in real life. So
Yeah.
you could find that it's someone who was a cop on a TV show for 10 years.
Yeah, or just, you know, they cast unknowns because they would look more like cops, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's not blah blah in a cop uniform. That's just
it's
a cop.
It's a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about filmmaking as well, Nightcrawler. It's a film about filmmaking.
In what sense?
Well, it's about voyeurism.
Okay.
It's about the idea of, obviously, what he's doing appeals to a certain demographic of the public which enjoy sensationalism and, blood creeps into the suburbs.
Yeah. What's the line from the woman? I don't remember her name, but the woman that he's kind of working with at the news network.
I just love the fact that throughout the last episode as well, the amount of characters' names I think we've forgotten as a collective is quite...
I can't remember her character name now.
Yeah, but she says something
she's
like,
married to Dan Gilroy though.
Oh, okay. But yeah, she says something like the ideal video for our news network is like a woman running through a neighborhood with her throat slit.
Yeah.
Running
And
through
they
like
can-
a well-to-do
yeah.
suburban neighborhood, a white woman running through that neighborhood with her throat slit.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing we want. And Lou Bloom's response is, "You will be seeing me again." As if like I know exactly what to do.
Yeah, and it's kind of... So that on a literal level, it's about those things.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you extrapolate that to the film, we are being voyeurs. We are watching a weird guy
Yes.
in the privacy of his own apartment at points where he's laughing at inappropriate things on the TV and then turning to someone who isn't there to share the laughter with them. You know, it's a very intimate portrayal. And the fact that when he is, kind of staging these crime scenes almost, or manipulating them rather than staging them, he's doing it as in a way a filmmaker thinks, like, what makes the best shot here?
Yes.
I'll put the picture of the family on the fridge
Yeah.
close to
Right next to the bullet
blood.
holes. Yeah, and the blood, and yeah.
It's it's an artist's sort of instinct that he's going for, isn't it? And so I think the film, it's about a guy that is looking down a camera. you know?
Yeah.
I just think there's definitely a meta element to that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
That is everything I have to say.
I don't have
about
anything else to
Nightcrawler.
say on the matter. What about you, Eddie?
I was like, George, did you want to... because obviously it was on your list as well.
Yes.
Is there anything
yes,
you
it was
wanted?
slightly lower than you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was my number 7. Well, you want me to explain why it's lower than you?
I don't know whether, but just if there was anything more to add. Obviously, it's on your list. We know that. But...
Yeah. No. I've got nothing else to say. I think it being lower on my list than yours is just down to the films I've got on my list, as opposed to anything that's wrong with Nightcrawler. You know.
Yeah.
Presumably, it's the same for why it didn't make your top 10 at all. Because you said it would be like number 12 or 13, right?
Yeah, just so many great films.
Yeah.
There's nothing that it's not to the detriment of Nightcrawler that's not on my list.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Is it Sam or Jordan?
It's me now.
Jordan.
Okay. My number 5 is Parasite. This being the first film we've encountered in this session, where we encountered it on the last session and couldn't talk about it.
Indeed.
So, do you want to talk about the plot, or shall I?
You could do the plot.
Okay. All right. Parasite.
It was my number 7. Just to
it was your number.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I would say you just said this was like the first time this had happened. We literally just
we just did it.
We just did Nightcrawler, which was on my list this time and your list last time.
Oh shit! Sorry.
I was thinking, what's he talking about?
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. This shows how little attention I pay, doesn't it? No, yeah, not only that, but it's in both cases it was someone else's
You
number
said
7.
that right off the back of him saying, "Do you want to explain why it was lower on your list?"
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I wouldn't hammer the nail on this far usually, but
No, you were completely. I deserve that. Okay, Parasite. I'll give the plot for Parasite. Well, Parasite is a South Korean film, and it's in South Korean, but like all of the other,
just Korean.
Okay.
Is there, actually, no. I was going to say, is there much of a difference?
There's not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Not that we'd know.
Not that we know. Yeah, but it's the
North Korean language is silence.
Political.
It's one of 3 foreign films that show up on my list, but with all of them, I don't think.
Oh, they're trying to show he's cultured.
No, but that's the thing. They're not even remotely.
I wanted to be more cultured. We made him about the Lego movie. It's fine.
But no,
maybe you should watch more foreign films if you got 3 on your top 10 of the decade list.
I mean, I would say, to be fair, Parasite and another one that is on your list is the reason why I want to watch more foreign films.
Yeah,
so
that was nice.
It is fair enough.
It's nice to open that up for you.
Yeah,
because the point I was going to make in the case of The Raid, Parasite, and another film that is yet to be revealed.
I love those.
Yeah, we got to sit on.
Yeah, we got to keep the mystery going. It's none of them feel like, I think, people's typical understanding of a foreign film, or what people typically think of, which is like it's black and white, it's French.
Yeah,
there's like shots that go on for 10 minutes where nothing's happening, but it means something.
The artist,
something like
not
that.
even that, because that's got broad appeal. You know, it's not a French New Wave.
I mean, to be fair, I would say I like the artist.
You like the artist. No, I mean, I think all 3 of your films transcend the language barrier. To be fair.
Exactly.
Quickly before you give the plot, I will
Okay.
say Bong Joon-ho, who recently won the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Film for Parasite, he said something at that ceremony in his acceptance speech. It was like, if only we could get over the 1.5-inch barrier of subtitles, I think a lot more people would enjoy foreign films.
I mean,
I think not unfair, I will say. I think I completely agree with him. Like, people should get over that.
Yeah.
But he's made a film where it doesn't matter, I don't think.
What does it matter?
The language barrier. Because he's made a film that does, because of its style, it transcends.
Yes, and even though it's
barrier.
obviously set in it's set in South Korea. I did it. I knew I would do it, or I'd get the Koreas mixed up. Even though it's set in South Korea and it's in South Korean, and there are elements of the film that are probably exclusive to South Korea.
Yeah.
It's not alienating.
No, not
it's because it's sort of a
all.
universal story in a sense. It feels like this is a story that could happen anywhere in the world. It just happens to be happening in South Korea.
Yeah.
But yes, the story of the film is a family are living in utter poverty. They're all jobless. They're all really struggling financially. But then the son is given an opportunity by his friend to work as an English tutor.
Yep.
To the daughter of this rich family who live in roughly the same area, but obviously they live in this, beautiful, like
the other side of town.
Yeah, the other side of town. It's this beautiful, almost like mansion, whereas they're living in like a semi-basement.
Yeah.
And there's like a guy who is outside their apartment, and he always like pisses into the apartment, and it's just horrible.
This street gets fumigated.
Yes, it's that kind of place. Yeah. So the son goes to meet the rich family, the mother of the rich family. she's expecting someone with a college degree, which he don't have, so he has to tell a couple of little white lies, but the family take to him, so he gets the job as the English tutor. He then sees the opportunity to get his sister to sort of be hired by the family as an art tutor, and then it sort of sets off a chain of events where the poor family are kind of integrating themselves into the lives of the rich family by sort of getting these jobs in servitude to the rich family. Initially, they're sort of taking opportunities as they're being presented, and then as time goes on, they're, shall we say, creating their own opportunities. That's the premise, but that's not the half of it. The Parasite.
And obviously, this is a spoiler podcast.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk too much about the plot.
I was going to say that, because it's a very recent film.
Yeah,
we touched on this briefly.
We might talk about it more in depth the week of its release in the UK.
Okay.
I think, to go back to it.
Yeah, it's the kind of film where I think we need to sit down and possibly spend an entire podcast talking about it
Unpack
properly.
over it.
Unpack over it. And also, I think it's the type of film that benefits from you going... It's not like Cabin in the Woods, where the premise is kind of a spoiler.
No.
But it's the type of film that benefits from being able to surprise you on the first watch, and then you go back subsequent times and see when they were kind of planting the seeds of what happened.
It starts as one thing and just completely transforms into something else.
Yeah. Yes.
But I guess let's just start talking about it then.
Okay.
It's the best kind of film where it's... And I want to just get out of the way. It's number 7 on my list.
Yeah.
Only because of its novelty.
Okay.
If I'd seen this in 2018, it would probably be in my top 5.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's one of my favourite films.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yeah, well, there's another film I've got on here from 2018, and I was initially worried about that. So the fact that I've ended up including a 2019 film, I'm very cautious of where it is. Yeah. But I'm also kind of like confident in its position.
Yes. I haven't seen a film in a very, very long time where I've thought about it as much afterwards.
Yes.
I've not thought about it in a kind of Inception Matrix way of, I wonder what that meant and how that, what that really suggested or indicated.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it, just like it being on my mind.
It's interesting. It's sort of one of those rare instances where the film almost feels like an entity unto itself. Like, it doesn't feel like something that was written. It doesn't feel like something that was directed or edited, or shot or anything like. It just feels like a thing that existed, that just exists.
It's a gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you, Bong Joon-ho.
Thank you, Bong Joon-ho,
for giving us this gift. But it almost doesn't feel. Yeah, it kind of feels like a thing that. It sounds stupid because obviously he did, but it feels like a thing he just kind of brought into existence, opposed to a thing that he made.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I'm not a big fan of his earlier films.
Okay.
Like, I admire certain things about them.
The only other thing I've seen is Snowpiercer, which was a little bit stranger than I was expecting it to be. I watched it with my father.
I've heard of Snowpiercer, actually.
Yeah, I watched it with my father, and we were both a bit like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen Mother, but I've seen The Host, which is pretty good.
Okay.
Snowpiercer, which I didn't think that much of.
Okay.
And Okja or Okja, whatever.
Okja, I think it is.
Oh, okay, I've heard of that as well.
Wasn't a big fan of that. Okay. I didn't like that much at all.
Was that up for awards?
No,
it wasn't. It was Netflix exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that would affect its awards eligibility.
No.
Yeah.
But I've heard of it. I don't know why I would have heard of it.
Well, Gyllenhaal's in it.
Oh, maybe that's why I've heard of it.
Who's the main, the person with whom Okja is travelling?
It's an Asian. Okay. I'm not sure. An Asian actor.
I thought the actress or actor.
Honestly, I remember Jake Gyllenhaal's performance in it because it's so out of kilter with the rest of the film.
Okay.
But that's kind of all I remember, really.
Okay, alright.
And it kind of trying to hammer in like an environmental message that just didn't work.
Yeah, that's part of the course with films like that.
It is. But Parasite, so, okay, I watched so many films that I just thought, I've completely shattered my palate.
Yeah.
I can't love a film anymore. It's just not in me to do that anymore.
You have a rule, don't you, when it comes to films? What about what films you watch and what films you don't?
What do you mean? What rule?
Rotten Tomatoes rule, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, right, my general practice, this is too intimate.
I'm sorry.
My general practice with films...
Exclusive for everyone here.
Yeah.
Is, if a film is over 80%, unless it's a film I'm interested in for other reasons...
Like Cats.
Or if a film's high sound, I'll give it or Joker, for instance.
Yeah.
Which I was interested. Yeah, not a critical darling. 11 Oscar nominations.
What a load of shit.
That's because the woke media couldn't handle how jokery Joker was.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, so I generally only watch films if they're over 75-80%.
Yeah.
And I do it week by week. So I was putting off Parasite. Like, I'll get around to it in February when it's out over here. But no, it seems to be a big awards contender.
Yeah.
I want to see as much as I can so I watched it prematurely.
Yes.
And yeah, I thought I couldn't love a film anymore, and I can. I can still love. And I love Parasite. I love it, and I love it.
You know it as well, don't you?
I do, but I've never heard you say a sentence like that in my entire...
What? I love it.
That's like you gushing over something, and that's basically just...
No, it's not like me, is it?
No.
Yeah,
I don't like it. No, yes, I am.
Well, it made you interested in foreign cinema, didn't it?
Yeah, and the thing, I don't know what it is about foreign cinema. I've just never really.
Well, it does have like
gone in for it.
Yeah, it has like a taboo around it almost. Where
Like,
it's kind of like, oh, I can't be dealing with that.
Like if I'm being honest, when I say I've like films that I would consider foreign cinema before this that I've seen.
Yeah.
The Artist and Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay. That's another kind of like transcendent of its cultural barriers.
Yeah.
You know?
And The Artist is a silent movie.
Yes.
So yeah. By definition, transcends the language barrier.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, there was... Because I didn't know... By the time I watched it, I knew you'd seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't know you'd seen it.
Okay.
But, you recommend stuff to me all the time.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, you've got to watch this. You've got to watch this.
And your response after you watched it, I think you just said, I've got one word. Parasite.
Yes. that is the text I sent you.
Yeah.
No, I think it was Parasite, that is all.
That is all, yeah.
That's a very me thing to say.
Which it could have gone either way. You could have loathed it, and it could have been, Parasite, I don't even say anything more about it. But no, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
But yeah, I haven't stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
I do want to... We were talking about like the subtitles and stuff like that. I do want to throw it out. The subtitles for the sex scene make me laugh. No end.
I gotta say, I watch my fair share of foreign films.
Yeah.
This is one of the few foreign comedies where it's funny just by reading it.
Yes.
Obviously, it's in the performances as well, but the lines are funny.
Yeah.
But I think it's... Because basically... I call it a sex scene.
Well, it is a sex scene.
It is, yeah.
They're having a bit of fun on the sofa.
Yeah. He's frigging her.
Yeah. And her response, it's kind of like a role play, I suppose, kind of thing.
Yes.
But her response in this role play is her just saying, buy me drugs over and over again. Now, there was a part of me that when I read that, I genuinely went, is someone fucking with me with the subtitles? Like, have I just, someone fucking...
Well, it's
because I have no idea.
It's a Korean film. Buy me drugs could be his character.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because we're trying to avoid as many spoilers as we can. It sort of feeds into something that happened earlier in the film.
Yes.
So we'll.
Yes.
Yeah, I have points about it, but some of them.
We were talking around it, aren't we?
Yeah, I do kind of give the game away, and I don't want to. I don't quite want to do that.
Let's just be vague and praise words.
I would say,
okay.
I think be vague, praise, but we do promise all of you that there is a proper...
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think unless you're phobic towards foreign, like you actually hate them on principle,
yeah,
you're going to like this film.
Yeah, I would.
I don't think I know anyone across the spectrum of age, intelligence, everything. I think everyone will like this film if you give it a go.
Yeah. As I say, it opened up my palette, and as I say, I don't really know why that, like, I hadn't ventured into that area more.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly now, it's like it's a new avenue open that I'm gonna look forward to exploring more. It's like, certainly as this year goes on.
No, I think it's like it's a good film unto itself, but I think it's also a very good gateway film as well.
It is
for people who want to get into foreign cinema. This is definitely one of your first stops, I think.
I mean, I hate to harken back to a film we haven't yet spoken about, but the film that's on your, because it's on your list.
Yeah.
That probably would have done it as well anyway.
Yeah, I would agree. So yeah,
because I watched the two within the space of like 2 days of each other.
Okay.
And was immediately taken by both.
Yeah.
Well, Parasite kind of it straddles kind of high culture and low culture in a way, by which I mean, you see, I've watched the trailer after the fact to see what it gives away, and it's filled with these laudatory things like an urgent study of class and all that sort. I think it is those things. It is those Cannes Film Festival things.
Yeah.
But it's also a farce, a slapstick, a comedy, not slapstick in a Run for Your Wife kind of
Yeah.
But it's just a comedy. It's a drama comedy that is incredibly intelligent, but not impenetrably so.
No, yeah.
You get what it's trying to say.
Yes.
It's all there.
Yeah.
And it's very digestible. And it's very easy to watch.
Yeah.
And it's very lovely
so
to look at.
It's so easy to watch.
It's a beautiful looking film.
It's
absolutely gorgeous.
It's impeccably directed.
Yeah.
I don't know how a guy who's made, for me, such middling films created such an airtight masterpiece.
Yes. Because the other thing as well is the film takes place in 4 locations?
Mm-hmm.
There's like the house, the rich people's house, in which it mainly is just the living space.
Yeah.
There's the semi-basement that the family live in.
Yeah.
And then there's like 1 or 2 other locations that show up are like 1 or 2 moments during the plot.
Yeah.
The car and the place they stay overnight one night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apart from that, it's all kind of in the same place, but it never gets boring, and it never feels like they're running out of ways of portraying that location, you know?
No, I think it's around 130 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it feels about half that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, news broke a couple of days ago that they're doing an HBO series.
They're doing a mini series.
Yeah. Adam McKay, Bon Jovi is involved.
Okay.
But Adam
McKay.
We'll in 2 years we'll do an episode of the podcast where we might well sing its praises, but I don't like this idea at all.
No.
He just said at the Golden Globes, finally we can overcome the 1-inch.
Yeah.
Then you're making an American adaptation of it. Doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, and from what I can gather, it will be an American adaptation because it's not going to be the same characters necessarily.
No.
It's going to be, it's not going to be Korean.
No. Yeah, no, the story needs a bit of tweaking so that it makes sense in an American context.
The thing is, it kind of, like I said, it is a universal story, but it's specificities that push it into a film that I love.
Yes.
It would be lesser, I think, if it was an American film. I can't explain why that is.
No.
The fact it's Korean adds something to it, you know?
Yeah.
My hope is this is another thing that just falls by the wayside, and in 2 years' time we're not talking about it at all, to be honest.
Yeah, they just kind of realise, oh, maybe just watch Parasite instead of like watching this pound shop version that America might make.
And I speak as an early Fargo skeptic. When they announced that they were doing a TV show, oh, really?
Okay,
and now I love that show.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of it, but I'm coming on board.
But my instinct says this is just a terrible cash-in, horrible idea.
Yeah.
Especially getting Adam McKay. He can fuck off.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of things. Okay. If we feel like it's getting a bit too specific, maybe we can cut them out.
Okay.
But I feel like the audience deserves a bit of specificity at this point of the discussion.
So if we don't like it, we'll just scream at Jord, no.
Yes.
Okay. This is so metaphorical. That's a line that crops up a couple of times during the film. The son keeps saying it every now and again.
Yeah.
When something like major, when they're kind of hatching a plan.
Yes.
And the plan is unfolding, he goes, "Oh, this is so metaphorical."
Yeah.
What does he mean by that? I understand what he literally means by that, but why do you think that's a recurring thing throughout the film?
I think, you've got to think of whether that has a slightly different meaning in Korea. Not the word metaphorical, but whether that was the best translation that we could have gotten.
Yeah,
because
there are certainly metaphors within the film, and there's even a recurring item in the film that is clearly a metaphor for something.
I think,
or a symbol for something.
I think it's a joke that he is misunderstanding or misusing.
Okay.
What he's smart, but I don't think.
Well, this thing I kind of took away from the fact that he is a smart person, but maybe he'd heard that word and didn't.
Yeah, and I was just using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you mean the character now?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the actor's dumb as shit.
Yes, because the character is. Yes, he's not doing well, but he's also not an idiot.
No, he manages to talk himself into being an English tutor.
As does the daughter. That's one of the things.
That's the thing. Yeah. So they are on the bottom of society, the family.
Yeah.
But they're very smart. They're not like idiot trash.
I really like the portrayal of this family because I feel like an inferior film would portray them as, they're good people.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily
it would either
good people.
They would either be treated as they're kind of fools, but they're likable, or they would be people where injustice has been sort of like inflicted upon them.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve wealth and riches, but society has just fucked them over.
Yeah.
It doesn't treat them like that. You do get the sense that it's sort of like they've been unlucky, but it's also kind of their fault that they're in the position they are.
Yeah, they're kind of a scheming family.
Yeah,
like they're all kind of, they're unilaterally minded about. It's all about how do we make money, and you can get in. It's a bit like, I tell you, this is a weird. I never thought I'd be making this comparison. It's like the British sitcom Bread.
Go on.
Bread.
I don't know what Bread is.
Okay, Bread's an 80s Liverpool sitcom about a Catholic family, like the mother, the matriarch of this family.
Okay.
5 children, and just they're all kind of scraping for pennies, basically. Mm-hmm. And
isn't the thing a recurring gag? Like one of the sons is going to like the dole office and making up conditions about his grandfather.
Yeah, like money. Oh, my grandfather's budgie died. We need money. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Fucking thing.
God, just because you're popular, Sam.
Jesus. It's my mother.
I take it back.
Yeah. And in Bread, one of the recurring kind of motifs, I suppose, is whenever they sit down for dinner, which is kind of like the main set of the sitcom. The mother, there she has a little kind of hen jar.
Yeah.
And she opens the hen jar, and they all throw like a share, like a tenner, a fiver, whatever they can spare, basically. And that sense of a family unit, like there's the understanding of if you make money, we all dip in, basically.
Yeah.
It's that kind of family where there's just an understanding. They're one, basically.
Yes.
There's no internal.
Yeah, an interesting
united by their smell.
It's an interesting detail that I noticed that the family are constantly like swearing in front of each other.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like, I don't know where that kind of lies in Korean culture, whether that's like seen as a big no-no, swearing around your parents or your children. Over here it can be a bit like, within like broad functional family units, swearing amongst your parents. I don't know if that's seen as like a typical thing or not.
It depends on the language.
It depends on the age.
Yeah.
I think a sign of a functional family is one who can swear around each other, right?
Okay.
Not if you're calling each other cunts all the time.
I was saying,
No.
I mean, my mother heard me use the word cunt, I'd probably get a fucking chew around the ear, but...
Which is why you just said it on this podcast.
Exactly.
She will inevitably hear.
Exactly, because this is like the one I told her she can listen to.
But yeah, I thought that was a nice detail where they're not a family unit, they are kind of accomplices.
Yes, that's right.
It's
kind of another film. It reminds me of Shoplifters.
Okay.
Which is a Chinese film that's essentially the same family in the underbelly of society.
Yeah. And
they take in a stray kid and try and raise it. But that's kind of, as I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, that they're not a nuclear family. They're a family of waifs and strays that have formed a family unit, even though none of them are related to each other.
I see. Okay.
This is an actual nuclear family.
Yes.
But it feels like that. They're just co-conspirators.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they all have, like, one of the first scenes in the film, you mentioned the fumigation.
Yeah.
There's the streets being fumigated, and the current occupation at that point in the film is they're folding pizza boxes.
Yeah.
And they have so many boxes to fold, they're on a strict time limit. So the fumigation comes around, and one of the family members is like, oh, we should probably close the window. And the father's like, no, we'll get free fumigation, leave the window open. So obviously the gases make their way into the apartment, it clouds the apartment. The children are like properly struggling and coughing. And it's just sort of, it's a shot that's kind of like holding on the father as he's just kind of like blankly just folding pizza boxes.
Says everything you need to know about the character.
Exactly, yeah. And they all have a moment like that in the film where they're doing something that's very kind of like, oh, I don't like that about you. But at the same time, it doesn't like... They also kind of do something to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
What did I put down for the father?
While you're just looking at it, I would just like to take the point of... I'm very aware of the fact that I said they were united by their smells. That is a comment that is brought up in the film. I'm not just...
Oh, yeah. That becomes...
Questioning, like, Korean smell is like a thing. That's just
Methinks the gentleman doth protest too much.
Yeah, but I do the same when you point out I use the feminine as a cancer mug, so it's... Shut up.
No, all I put down for the father was he's putting his family in a position where they're uncomfortable on purpose, but it's so that they can get paid.
Yeah.
Like, he's not doing it out of cruelty, he's doing it out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing with the daughter is the daughter, like, is trying to get hired as, like, the art therapist / art tutor for the son of the rich family. She's saying things that are sort of, like, deliberately scaring the mother almost. She's kind of, like, scaring the mother into hiring her.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see her... Because the son is very, like, hyperactive and he's all over the place and he's a menace in the household. But whenever he's in her company, he's, like, calm and tame and placid.
Yeah.
So even though she's, like... And it's the same with all of them. Even though they've done, like, very unsavory things to get where they are, They're all good at what they do.
This is the thing.
And they all work hard at what they do as well.
Yeah, like this, they falsify a diploma.
Yeah.
And the son says, "Oh, it's just kind of until I actually go to university."
It's just to get in during the door. Oh yeah, no, he says, "I don't see this as forgery. I see this as I'm basically like it's an early degree."
It's an early degree.
Yeah.
Yes, they're all very capable. Like if they had just not tried harder, but like they put their attention elsewhere. They could have legitimately and not to give the ending away, but the suggestion is that the son will. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because if you were going in the direction that I think you're going, I would say the opposite is true.
But that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Because there's a scene earlier in the film where he's speaking to the father.
Yeah.
And the father says something that if you kind of apply that to that final scene, it makes what's being said kind of ironic, or not ironic, but like you learn to understand that basically these things aren't gonna this is the son's plan and it's not gonna play out.
Of course, and the future that plays out is a fantasy.
Yes,
so we do see that play out as a fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it will happen, but there's the idea that he could do that. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
I would say it's a very minor criticism.
Okay. This is the one film on my list I have no critique for.
Okay. Mine is not a critique but a question, but it requires spoilers, so I won't bring it up.
As I say, it's like a minor thing, and it's the only thing that like picked it in my mind. Not with the son and the daughter, like legitimately, like them getting those jobs and making that their own, fine.
Yeah.
But then the roles the parents take on, it just felt a little convenient that they would make it so that they could get a job that suited the father, but as easy as they did. Well, and then the mothers, and as I say, it's like a little criticism because it is so minor, but it was like the thing of it is convenient that the two roles that they could have he did that as a job and she basically did that as a job.
Well, to be fair, their jobs aren't particularly skill based, are they?
No,
like,
and as I say, and it works with the film. Yeah. But it was, as I say, it was like a little thing.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm sure, like in a few years, I might have something bad to say about it. But I'm very aware I'm still not.
10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking. 10 years down the line. Maybe it's a 9.9 out of 10.
We're talking about like Star Wars 18, and Sam's like, "Oh, actually, I have a criticism for Parasite. I did it. I found one."
Yeah.
It's cute that you think we're only beyond Star Wars 18 by that point.
Oh yeah, Star Wars 28.
It's again, we're not going to give anything away. It's such an... you don't anticipate what's coming at all.
No, it is genuinely, out of nowhere, but also...
This is my point.
Yeah.
It's unexpected, but inevitable.
Yes.
As soon as the film's over, you're like, of course it was going to be a film about that.
Yes.
Of course it was always going here.
Yeah.
But you have no idea where it's going when you're watching it, and that is the best type of story.
Yeah.
Hands down. It's also such an obvious story.
I say, without giving much away,
yeah.
Can I talk about the housekeeper for like a second?
Yeah.
Her secret.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely love it.
When you discover that secret, that's the moment where you're watching the film and
something else.
Yeah, that's the moment where you go, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Because
I think
where the fuck is this going?
As soon as that happened, I was like, she's got a fucking secret too? Like, what?
I'll be honest, I was watching the film on my laptop, and I was liking it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it just stays like this, this is going to be a real good... And then the turn happened.
Yes.
I paused it, stood up and went, okay. And I knew I was in for something.
You just
really
had to sort
special.
of prepare yourself.
I was like, okay, I know this is where it's going to become great.
I'm going to make sure I'm ready for the film.
Yeah, basically. But so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Where it goes subterranean.
Yeah.
It's... And also, it's such an obvious... Not an obvious story, but... After it's done, you're like, how has that never been done before?
Yes, yeah.
Do you know, I can't believe that story's never been told before. It's so kind of obvious, and it's so simple.
Yeah, it's just so right, isn't it?
Yeah.
The way it's told as well. There's nothing about the film which feels like, oh, that's an extraneous detail, or that was done incorrectly.
Which is why I'm sure that they feel it's suitable to be remade in America. Because it's such a simple, obvious story.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think for the sake of not giving anything else away, unless we've got anything else to final wrap up on it.
Not really. This might become something that I bring up as we get further and further up the list. But the pacing and the rhythm of the film, I love that because that's one of my, as an editor, that's like something That's kind of a philosophy that I've adopted. That you always like, you know, as an editor, your kind of temptation is to focus on like continuity and making the shots like logical and sound. But I feel like the best films are always the one that have like a rhythm and a flow and an ebb to them, which many films further up the list definitely have. But Parasite in particular, there's like a moment where he's having where the son is having a conversation with his friend, and it's the scene where the son tells him, "Look, you can be an English tutor to this girl if you want." Where they're sort of like they're having this dialogue back and forth, and then the son like asks him a question, or I think he says, "Oh, are you telling me that I have to lie to this family to get in?" And he pauses, and a bus goes behind them, and then the scene sort of carries on. And initially, I noticed it because it's not like a major beat, but I kind of noticed it. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's something I've noticed." But Bong Joon-ho and the guy who plays the son, I don't know his name.
Yeah, I'm not sure their name.
They did one of those Vanity Fair videos where it's like such and such talks about the opening scene of blah blah blah, and they focused on that scene, and they said that they actually did that. It wasn't superimposed, and they did about 4 or 5 takes or 3 or 4 takes in order to get it lined up perfectly.
Right.
Like, well, why on earth would they do that?
Yeah.
But I think it is just because that bus passes, and then the scene, kind of like the important information of the scene, starts to kind of be delivered. So it's not only does it kind of serve as like a pause in the scene where it's like, okay, the scene is changing, pay attention now.
Yeah.
It's also just like, because there was a natural silence there, they've kind of done something in the background to keep the rhythm of the scene going.
Yeah.
And also there's a video from, I think it's Nerdwriter1. That is a YouTuber, isn't it?
You're the man to know that.
Okay, he does video essays, and he's done a video essay on the montage where the mother gets hired.
Sure.
And he sort of talks about the rhythm and the pacing of that, and how balletic and kind of perfect and symmetrical everything is. And that's, as I say, this is something that might come up with other films, but in Parasite in particular, it's just so well paced. It's just so like...
It is. Everything is perfectly well judged.
Yeah.
It's the perfect fusion of style and substance. It is a very stylish film. And usually I feel like when films are described as stylish, it's almost saying it, but it's not very substantial.
Yeah, you kind of think of films that are sort of like big and bombastic, kind of like an Edgar Wright thing, where it's sort of...
Stylish is a euphemism for hollow, I think, a lot of the time.
There is, that's side of it as well.
Absolutely not the case with Parasite.
No.
And I will say, it feels like it's been impeccably crafted to perfection. But I remember in Empire Review of Inception, obviously years ago, them saying that Leonardo DiCaprio is great, but in films like The Departed, you always feel the weight of his acting. Whereas in Inception, they felt that you didn't. It was kind of effortless in a way.
Yeah.
And that's what Parasite feels like. It feels like a perfectly crafted masterpiece. But if you're watching a Kubrick film, I'm not saying it's laboured, but you're watching it going, oh man, this guy is really trying hard to make a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And with Parasite, you don't think that at all. It's got such a lightness of touch.
Yeah.
It's so effortless. And I will say, Empire are releasing their top 100 films of the century at the moment.
Oh, right.
And, and...
You mean the century that we're like 20 years into?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Not the decade, the century.
Yeah, they wanted to one-up everyone.
Avengers Endgame is around like the 30 mark.
Yeah.
And they kind of give a little dig to Scorsese at the end by saying, and Captain America realising that he's worthy enough to hold Mjolnir on the battlefield, pure cinema. And that's how they sign off that
right.
thing. Like, no. The flood sequence in Parasite.
Yes.
That is pure cinema.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
And that scale, that's grand scale filmmaking. But that is pure cinema.
Yes.
Not a bunch of fucking CGI.
Empire, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
We're gunning for you, Empire.
Who named Avengers Endgame the best film of 2019?
Okay. Well, they're wrong, because it's Parasite.
Correct.
But enough about Parasite. Considering how vague we've talked about Parasite for a while.
I want to cap it off with one little observation. I'm not attracted to Asian women, but the daughter I would. Let's move on.
Well, the problem is I am attracted to Asian women. I agree with you, but
no,
that's the thing.
It's the power to.
You're not wrong. It's
But I definitely would.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that the sort of like little jingle, the little song she does at the doorbell, that's become like a viral hit.
Is it?
Yeah. Like amongst I think it's just, it might be international, but certainly within Korea, like the Jessica jingle they're calling it. That's like that's kind of like a viral thing amongst fans.
It's just like topping the charts in Korea.
It might be, genuinely. I wanted to learn it, but I couldn't quite get the sound of it down before the podcast. But yeah, it's I'm surprised at that.
All right.
But yeah, on to you, Sam.
My number 5 is Tyrannosaur. Silence.
I do wonder what I did to upset you, that you made me watch Tyrannosaur and Calvary in the same short period of time.
Films.
Well, let's talk about Tyrannosaur some more then.
Okay.
I will say, just to add to his point.
Yeah.
When I came to yours and you went, which of my list haven't you seen? I pointed out the Tyrannosaur was one. You were like, yep, you're in for a bleak morning.
Okay, fine, but my best self doesn't stand by that. But also, as we're talking, I love this film, but I'm very mindful already that Parasite is a superior film.
Okay.
I just want to get that out of the way.
Okay. Well, you've committed to it now.
But I've committed to
so
it.
sell us on Tyrannosaur, Sam.
Okay. Well, Tyrannosaur is about a lonely alcoholic man in his 50s, I would say, played by Peter Mullen.
Oh, so me in 25 years, yeah.
And at the beginning of the film, in a fit of anger, he kicks his dog and the dog dies. And he's kind of bereft. He ends up sleeping outside. What?
No, it's just like that's how we're starting, and you want to maintain the thing that it's not like bleak or just depressing.
I'm not saying it's not dark.
He opens with him kicking his dog.
Like at least Calvary, at least they waited until like the film was ramping up to kill the dog. That's how they start with Tyrannosaur.
Two films where they kill the dog.
Yeah.
You've got an obsession or something.
Anyway, so bereft, he ends up kind of kipping outside this charity shop where Hannah works, played by Olivia Colman. She invites him in, she kind of tends to him, and the two strike up a weird, kind of unique friendship. That's sort of it plot-wise, really. The film is about their blossoming, non-romantic relationship. She is abused by her husband. She's in an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know about this, really.
Played by Eddie Marzan.
Played very well by Eddie Marzan.
Yeah, a different role.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into Eddie Marzan.
Yeah.
It's about the film about these. It's a film about these two people, basically. Right. Yes, it's very dark.
Yes.
The subject matter is very dark. It's aesthetically very dark.
Yes.
It's very coarse. There's a lot of cunt. And Peter Mullen is a very quite Scottish guy, and when he swears, it feels worse.
Where's the film set?
It's just set in.
Or where was it filmed?
England, isn't it?
Because it's such a grimy, scummy-looking place. All the places the film kind of are around.
Yeah. The
locations that the film is sort of in, they're just really like the type of places that we would go to in real life and just be like, right, we got to get out of here. They're just horrible, scummy places.
It's all council estates and kind of pubs where they probably let you smoke.
Yeah.
It's that kind of film.
Yeah.
It's that sort of bleak, uniquely British sodium orange film.
Yeah.
So I'll get this out of the way so you can't slag it off too much.
Okay.
I think my grandmother passed away around the time I saw this film. So she passed away and then I saw the film.
Okay.
Now, thematically, plot-wise, there's no overlap there.
No.
But I think the emotional response that I had to the film is always connected to that kind of time in my life. And so I think fondly of the film because of that, if you know what I mean.
Okay, all right.
Even though they're not related whatsoever.
No, I understand completely.
Me, Johnny Cash and my
grand
go hand in hand.
Yeah, we have the same relationship with different songs, don't we? We've sort of like spoken about that before.
Yeah. And it's similar to Calvary, though I would say because the ending of Calvary does have some ambiguity. An argument could be made that it's not an uplifting ending. Whereas I would say in Tyrannosaur, it's a lot less ambiguous.
Okay.
You can make your mind about where it goes from there, but I think it is an objectively happy ending.
Okay.
No, it is. Right? Okay.
Again, it's one of those things of okay, this is a happy ending, but the utter misery I've had to sit through, it's not going away yet.
No,
like
I know
the
that.
scene,
you're not gonna...
the big scene, with Olivia Colman, where she sort of talks about what her husband has done to her. That's what stays with you over the happy ending,
Well, it stays with you in the sense of you come away thinking about it, but I don't think it stays like the feeling of that scene stays.
Oh no, it does.
Okay, so
it stuck with me.
I don't have that at all. Like,
It's I said on the lot because Her was one of the films on your list in the last podcast, and I said that it was the hardest I tried not to cry when watching a film, because obviously I was in the company of other people.
Yeah.
Tyrannosaur is not far behind it because I was in the room with you while we were watching it, even though.
Yeah. Oh no, I will reliably cry at that scene.
Yeah, even though I was like, this is probably it's probably safe to cry here because it's just Sam. It was still kind of like
that is
it was
the
weird.
least safe place to cry.
No, it was weird. It was almost like
if we were watching a film and you cried, I wouldn't even say anything.
Yeah.
If I observed it, I was just like, right, I might address it after the film.
Yeah.
But good. It's evincing this kind of response.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It was weirdly almost like because she's talking about these things that her husband had done.
Yeah.
It weirdly felt almost like, well, if I cry, it's like he's
beating you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we can't let if we cry, he wins, and I can't do that.
The scene, obviously, we can spoil the plot for this.
We don't care about this one.
It's
not new.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost. So
2011 is one of the earlier entries on this list.
Yeah. Basically, as I said, Hannah is abused by her husband, and she kind of stands up for herself one night. He basically knocks her unconscious. He rapes her. The next day, she goes to Joseph, the main character, and kind of stays with him. He keeps encouraging her to like go home and get your stuff, and I'll go with you. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
This friendship deepens, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go to her house and get her stuff. He goes there. Eddie Marsan's dead. She's clearly killed him.
Yeah.
And then he comes home, kind of without saying anything really. Well, he just says to her, "What have you done?"
Yeah.
And she tries to play it off, and he just looks at her, and then she basically just completely breaks down.
Yeah.
And just says some of the things that happened.
Yeah.
He put things inside me, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Yes.
It's really, really fucking
bleak,
dark.
Sam.
No, it is bleak. And I'm not saying that there aren't moments. Of course, there are moments of. Yes, okay, it's bleak. But
we did it. We got there.
We got it.
It is bleak, but it's not. See, we always have this argument. It's a fundamental interpretation of how you think of the word depressing or depression or depressed or bleak. When I think a bleak film, I think of a film that's nasty and kind of, or if it's not nasty, like Transformers films, I think are bleak, genuinely.
Okay.
Because they are cynical films.
Yes.
They are horrible. The people making them have ill intentions. When I think of depressing films, I tend to think of films where the ending, there's no redemption in it. You can have a lot of misery. If it's redeemed, I don't consider it a depressing film.
Okay.
Because it's a reward, isn't it? You put yourself through the ringer, but then you are rewarded with optimism.
Okay.
And I think those films are more rewarding because you've had to work through them, you know?
I mean, rewarding, yes, and optimism, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, she's in prison serving basically a life sentence for killing him.
But it's not like the film. She confesses that she did this, and then she's locked in. They throw away the key, and that's the ending. The ending is he goes to visit her in prison, where she's clearly happy. Like even though she's in prison, it's clearly a minimal security prison for one.
Yes.
Yeah, she ain't a crazy bitch.
They're free. They've saved each other. Is that ending basically? And then Joseph walks off into the sunset, essentially.
Yes.
Am I? Is it the right film I'm thinking of where he's cut down on like the drinking at the end?
Yeah, he's sort of. Yeah. He's cleaned himself up a bit. He kills another dog. We'll get to that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, but he cleans his act up.
Yeah.
Sorry
about this chair, by the way. It's fucking squeaking.
Yeah, I do apologise for the circumstance of the seating and this. But yes, so he ends up killing another dog.
Yeah.
He beheads the fucking thing.
He does.
And then sits in a chair with the head.
He does.
And then the owner has to see that. But
you don't care about the owner seeing that, though.
No, you don't. You're kind of rooting for him for doing it at that point.
Oh yeah, this was not a good dog he's killed.
No. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay. Well, that's the one thing, because I can't remember off the top of my head what the dog does exactly.
So Joseph has neighbours.
Yeah.
A young mother, her son, and her boyfriend, who's kind of abusive to the son.
He's a cunt.
And he kind of he's made his dog really vicious and angry by mistreating it and all that sort of stuff. And toward the end of the film, him and his mates are playing with dicking around with the kid. And then the dog gets hold of the child's toy. He goes to get it, and then the dog bites him in the face. So Joseph kills the dog as because he felt like something had to be adjusted, like balance needed to be redressed. So that's why he kills the dog. Why he does it so brutally, we can talk about maybe why that's the case.
But I would say it's because of. He's fucked up.
Yeah, and also he can't kill Eddie Marsan, can he?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yes, he's taken out on this, but also okay. The dog thing's really strange, and the thing about Tyrannosaur, it's a character film and it's a tone film.
Yeah,
but it's kind of unexpectedly deep in a way in those sorts of areas where killing a dog or dogs is the bookend.
Yeah,
to this film. If it starts with this despicable act, like we introduced this guy, it's the first thing that happens.
Yeah,
he walks out, he's thrown out of a club. He's just like muttering angrily to himself. And then the dog, he tries pulling it. It won't come as quickly as he wants. He kicks it. It dies. Credits. Like, that's the very first thing.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And we're supposed to like this guy now, is, sort of the idea. And then the film ends with him doing the same thing, but it represents something completely different. It's a really strange thing.
To be fair, it's one film where I have looked at the film poster. And I don't necessarily always think this with film posters, where I've looked at the film poster and gone, this sums up the bleakness and what this film is trying to embody.
Okay.
Because obviously the poster is just a skeleton of a tyrannosaur.
Yeah.
So
it's a film like Submarine. In the title has really nothing, well, not much to do with.
That was actually
Tyrannosaur's a nickname.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to bring up. I mentioned when we were talking about the title for Calvary how much I like titles like that, where it's sort of like it's almost kind of like an
invitation.
Yeah, but almost sort of like a piece that you can use to decode the film. Like as soon as I heard Calvary and like what it was like, okay, I understand the film better now.
Yeah.
But in terms of Tyrannosaur, the title feels very weak, like the way that it's sort of like implemented into the film, because it's a nickname that the main character gave to his wife, right? Yeah. And I don't know.
Essentially, he was just being a dick.
Yeah.
She says, why did you do it? He says, because I'm a cunt.
Yeah.
He says it.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know what that title's supposed to mean to the film as a whole. I know how it's justified in the world of the film.
Right.
I know where it's come from, but I don't know what it's supposed to say about the film or represent about the film.
I would say that it represents the place he's coming from. He's coming from a place where he called his wife that, where he kicks his dog to death.
Yeah.
He's an angry, kind of horrible man, really. That fundamentally is what it's a kind of character revealing moment. And it comes at a moment of honesty where he just says to Hannah, I'm not a nice person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of about their relationship, and also Tyrannosaur. It's something that's buried.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Buried things hiding underneath the surface.
Well, as you said, the poster is literally a Tyrannosaur skeleton buried in the earth. Isn't it?
Yeah. And it's about secrets,
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say about this, so I apologise in advance.
Okay.
Peter Mullen is outstanding.
Yep.
It's one of the angriest characters I've ever seen in anything. It's angrier than Lewis Black's anger in Inside Out.
And he is the embodiment of anger. Yeah.
Yep.
I would be terrified to be in a room with him.
Yes.
Yep.
He just exudes this horrible, like ungodly energy.
It's slightly different to what's his name from This Is England. He's also played Al Capone in
Stephen Graham.
Yeah, because he's a character. He's a person who I'd be scared to be in the same room as, especially in This Is England.
Yeah.
But he kind of radiates a violent energy.
Yeah.
Whereas unhinged, like at any moment he could just cut you to pieces.
Yeah.
Whereas Peter Mullen, it's not quite that, is it?
No, it's kind of the anger's more on the surface, I think, with him. Yeah, he's more coarse. He's like, ugh, like I don't want to be around you,
Yeah.
Olivia Colman, her performance is one of the greatest I've ever seen in anything.
Where does it stand in the pantheon of Olivia Colman performances?
I think it's her best performance.
Okay, you would say it's better than The Favourite, because I'd say that's probably the one competition.
Yeah, that's the biggest competition, but I think this surpasses.
Okay.
The Favourite.
Exclusively for that scene, or because of how because she's a very She's very timid. And I think that's naturally something that Olivia Colman can tap into.
But there's something about, obviously because of what she's going through as well, you just want to look after that character.
Yeah.
It's one of the most sympathetic characters I've ever seen in anything.
Yeah.
Where you just love her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I also loved her in Hot Fuzz, not going to lie.
Okay, maybe that's her greatest performance. Yeah.
Who said anything about murder? Yeah.
Oh, I love a bit of girl on girl.
Eddie Marzan is Vile.
Yes.
In the film.
What a wonderful actor.
He's a wonderful actor, and I think that was the first thing I saw him in.
Oh, okay.
To the point where it was genuinely difficult to see him in anything after it.
Okay.
I think the thing I saw after it was The World's End, where he's playing kind of the lovable.
It's interesting because it's the other way around for me, where
oh really?
I saw The World's End first,
okay.
And obviously he's kind of pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
He's
pathetic in Tyrannosaurus.
It's a different type of pathetic, though, isn't it? Like in the first fight scene in The World's End, he's like cowering and like trying to hide in the bathroom stalls.
Yeah, yeah.
And then seeing him in Tyrannosaurus, like no, I don't like that. You're too nice to be this horrible.
When did Sherlock come out? Because isn't he in that?
He is, yeah. But I don't think I didn't have any when I first saw Sherlock. I don't have any idea who he was. You know,
yeah.
I would say because I feel like I've seen him in very English films.
Okay.
Well, I think technically the first one I would have seen him in is Mission Impossible 3. He's one of like the random henchmen.
I'm gonna look up his filmography while we're doing this.
Most recent thing he's been in is Hobbs and Shaw, where he's played a Russian scientist.
No, he's in The Gentleman.
Oh, he's in The
Guy
Gentleman.
Ritchie film.
Okay.
Yes, I saw the trailer for that the other day.
But I was because Hobbs and Shaw is obviously terrible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When I saw him in that, I was kind of like, "Oh, good for you."
He's one of those. I mean, his best performance is probably in a film called Happy Go Lucky.
Okay.
Where he just plays this kind of foul-mouthed, enraged. He teaches people how to drive. Instructor.
Okay. I see.
It's Mike Lee, and he's fucking like it's all the time. I fucking hate you, and he's great in it. It's quite Mike Lee-ish. I would say it's got Mike Lee shades. Tyrannosaur.
Well, I was gonna say it's because it's Paddy. Was it Paddy Considine's directorial debut?
Yeah, he directed the short film.
Yeah, it was the short film that won the Oscar.
On which it BAFTA.
BAFTA, sorry.
Called Dog Altogether, because this is based on a short film that he directed.
Yeah.
The short film ends at Joseph being invited into the charity shop, and it's kind of baffling in retrospect how it wasn't always a feature.
Yeah.
You know, how did it not always have that structure?
Watching that short as well, because it's clearly a very low budget short.
Very, yeah.
Like it's all natural lighting. I don't think the image was altered at all in post.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell like the audio as well. It's not like terrible audio, but it's clearly like the audio they had at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that it sort of became this, it's baffling.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Joseph is, I mean, quite unlikable at the beginning, certainly.
Oh yeah.
Like, other than kicking the dog, he's racist, you know. But I think those isn't the fact he's racist. It doesn't go deep. It's just like he's dicking around, and he knows he's doing it just to be provocative.
He is, but again, I also put that down to he's part of that generation.
He is, but I think he just wants someone to punch him in the face.
Yeah,
I think that's basically what that character is.
I was saying, when you were talking about Mike Lee, were you talking about just Eddie Marzan or the film in general? Sorry,
the film in general.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got Mike Lee shades to it.
Yeah,
about kind of broken British weirdos, you know.
Yeah.
To make Joseph seem kind of almost saintly in comparison, the film puts a lot of satellite characters around him that are kind of incredibly despicable. Eddie Marzan being an example, the abusive neighbour, as we talked about. I think part of the reason I like the film so much is, if it's going to get very personal, it's about domestic abuse.
Yeah.
That's an issue that hits very close to home for me.
Okay.
Especially considering the kid in the film is called Sam.
Oh, yes.
So kind of proper.
Yeah, I that connection before.
Yeah.
No, neither did I.
Yes, there's that. Sort of a critique I have is that the abusive boyfriend is almost kind of archetypally evil. Like he's utter just horrible, you know. I know there are people like that, obviously. But he just swears, and he makes Joseph seem nice, basically.
He does.
I think maybe it needed to be that.
I was going to say, when you compare him to Joseph, do you need a character that's like utter evil just so that Joseph seems good by comparison? You know?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, compared to the boyfriend, he is a saint.
Yeah.
There's almost like a superhero quality to Joseph as well, because he basically wears the same thing for the whole film.
Yeah.
And then he ends up in the film's own terms saving the day. which is by killing another dog, basically. But again, it's kind of this horrible. It's almost like a religious duty at that point. He sees it. It's like a samurai thing, you know. It's weird.
We made the Western comparison with Calvary, didn't we?
Yeah.
Where the priest robes is sort of the stand-in for the cowboy outfit.
Yeah. You know,
say talking of the boyfriend, you say obviously like it hitting like close to home.
Yeah.
I mean, without going into too much detail, reminds me of someone who I used to know,
right?
Who took a very strong dislike to me, as it were, and I mean, I knew exactly what he was like with his other half, but you know, when I watched that, it reminded me immediately of him. It was the first thing I thought of. Was like, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah.
And was that? What did that do to you? Did it sort of like? Did it help cement the believability of that character, or was it sort of like cathartic to watch what happens to him? Like, how did him remind him? I mean,
it was quite. Sounds like it's quite nice seeing him to get some just desserts.
Yeah.
The music I love. There are two songs in particular that are used in the film that will make me cry regardless of their use in the film. One is "Sing All Our Cares Away" by Damien Dempsey, and the other one is "We Were Wasted," which is the song that is at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tearjerkers get me both times.
Do they make you cry outside of watching the
outside
film?
of the film.
Okay.
Even outside, but especially in the
film. That's a good sign, isn't it?
It is a very good sign.
Well, that's disgusting.
I suppose it's a good sign.
What, do I cry? Yeah.
No, just the fact that the song makes you cry, you know.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, I've seen you cry, but not many occasions.
Oh, yeah, not the fact that it makes you specifically cry.
Yeah, no, I have seen you cry.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Okay, it's a... We'll talk about me crying on other podcasts.
Talk more about how you cry, Sam.
It's pretty straightforward. Tears emerge from my eyes.
It's what the people want to know.
Yeah.
Can you feel?
Are you an ugly crier, Sam?
I don't know, actually. I tend not to look at myself in the mirror when I sob.
You're missing a trick. Anyway,
sorts me right out when I look at myself.
It's a platonic love story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. The film never goes to the obvious. It's about these two people who are soulmates, but not romantically.
Yeah.
And I definitely relate to that idea as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, the film, it's not big on catharsis. It kind of avoids the obvious in terms of you expect, Joseph's he's an angry man, he's going to find out that Hannah's being abused, and he's going to go kill Eddie Marzan.
Yeah.
That's not what happens. She does it. And you don't even get the vicarious thrill of seeing it happen.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's an utter surprise.
It was a good twist.
It's a good twist, and it's like it's a well-behaved film. Like, we're not going to give you what you want in terms of seeing him being torn limb from limb, which I would have been okay with, obviously.
I would say, because you don't see that. You don't see what he does to her.
You see the start of it.
Yeah. You see him hitting her in the start of it.
Yeah.
But you don't get any more than that.
No.
Which, I mean, it's a general thing of less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's a perfect example of you didn't need to see it.
No, if you saw most of the stuff that Olivia Colman describes, if you actually saw that, it would be like
purely exploitative and just too much. And
it would have been indulging in violence.
It would have been almost not endorsing it, but almost kind of like fetishizing it.
Yes, that was that was the word I was trying to think of.
Fetishizing. Yes, it would be. Yeah. You see as much as you need to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I realised, like, going back to it this most recent time, how much it's a film of looks. Just people looking at each other or looking into the distance in a certain way. The look when she goes out drinking because she doesn't want to go home. And then she goes home, she basically insults him, storms off to the bedroom, sits down, and you just see this look come over her like she's been punched in the stomach.
Yeah.
And like, I know this just certainty of doom. And she gets up and then it happens.
Yeah.
That's one of the moments. There's a moment where Joseph has a friend who's dying and he asks Hannah, because she's very Christian, to go pray for his friend. And then the camera just kind of closes in on Joseph looking at her. And it's just such a subtle thing. But it basically just like, it's him realising this woman is like incredibly special.
Yes.
That's one of the moments. There's a moment where Eddie Marzan... kind of apologizes to Hannah, like after he's just, I'm not sure if he's hit her, but he comes in sobbing, saying, I didn't used to be like, which is typical, I didn't used to be like this, I'm sorry, and then she's like comforting him, and this look of utter like disgust on her face, like this fucking, I hate this man.
Really like that particular moment.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, as I say, without going into details, I've known people. I know people.
Yeah.
Go think, and when in every situation when the guys come in and it's like, oh, I'm not like this, and that, but there is a very much belief that is sincere, and it was really nice to see.
Yeah, she just wasn't buying it.
She wasn't buying it. It was clear bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was like good.
Yeah. There's a deleted scene where it shows James, the husband. He's a real estate agent, and he's showing around two women run a house, and they just kind of walk over him. They don't really care what he has to say, and he's emasculated.
Yeah.
Then they leave, and he leans into the wall, and he just like whacks his head against the wall, and that was it. And I took it out, and I think that was a very wise choice.
Yes.
I know why it was there. It was contextualizing him.
Yeah.
It's almost like not forgiving him, but
it's kind of justifying. No,
sort of. Like I get it. Like we get who these men are.
Yeah.
I don't need to see him being emasculated to Okay, my big critique of the film is that Hannah is a Christian. Obviously, the idea is quite trite, and it's a bit obvious considering how unobvious the rest of the film is. But it becomes clear that it's just kind of a safety net. She's Christian, just to have something, basically.
Okay.
It's not pure surface, but in the charity shop where she works, there's a picture of Jesus hanging above, where she works. And then when it becomes clear that Eddie Marsan's going to basically, try and kill her, she kind of sobs and looks at the picture and goes like, "Who are you looking at?" and throws something at the picture, and it kind of hangs lopsided. And I know because I listened to the commentary that was an accident, but it feels a bit too much, a bit too heavy-handed.
Okay.
I have the picture of Jesus be lopsided. It's like too much for a film that isn't dealing in obviousness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my big. And also, she says things like, "God loves you. You're a child of God." A bit too cliche, a bit too easy. Do you know what I mean? I just kind of want to. Well, so Paddy Considine's next film was what I can't remember what it's called now. It's a boxing
Journeyman.
Journeyman.
Yeah.
That was such a massive disappointment.
Yeah.
And I think that the strength of Tyrannosaur makes it even more of a disappointment.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with Dan Gilroy in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's sort of like, what happened to you?
It's not bad, it's just bland.
I would say I didn't get all the way through Journeyman in the end.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing of I came away after watching Tyrannosaur and went, I was like, if I'd have watched them the other way around, I reckon I would have got through Journeyman. They're like, all right. And then I would have watched Tyrannosaur and go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it should have been, Tyrannosaur should have been the sophomore effort.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to make the case that it's not a depressing film. It's dark, it is bleak, but it's not cynical.
Okay.
It's about that angry bloke in the pub finding salvation.
Yeah.
I will leave on that.
Okay. You mentioned about rewatchability, Eddie. You said that was a major factor for you when deciding the films. It's also a major factor for me. I can't see myself revisiting Tyrannosaur on many an occasion. Not because the film is not rewatchable, just because it's such a, for the most part, you're put through the ringer emotionally.
I get
it's a difficult watch in that respect.
Maybe I'm a bit of a masochist. I sort of like being emotionally being put through the ringer.
Yeah.
Because films like that do have a big rewatch value for me in a weird way.
Okay.
It falls into a weird category for me, just Tyrannosaur. But I do think it's a really good film. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to get really sensitive about it, the film just inspires me. Like, not to write. There are films that I love that inspire me to want to go write something. Tyrannosaur isn't one of those films. The film genuinely inspires me. I know it might sound weird considering the stuff in it.
Yeah.
But because it is so allied with that feeling of my grandmother passing away, and the film, despite being bleak, like when you're miserable, you want to listen to miserable songs.
Yeah.
Perversely, you don't want to listen to happy songs to cheer you up.
Yeah.
It was sort of the same of like putting yourself through the misery of that film, and the fact that it offers a light at the end of the tunnel. I find that personally very inspiring. Gay.
I would say, in terms of just throwing a music spin into that,
right?
I have a playlist. When I first started doing that, like putting that together, it had the song "Let It Go" from Frozen on it.
All right,
okay.
Now, not for the point of what most people would assume it was on there of, let it go. Because when I'm in like a bad mood, if I want to be like frustrated and I want to get through that, I want to have like the songs where I can be pissed off, things like that. That song wound me up so much that it was great to get anger out to. And I know it sounds probably, because it's a fairly light song.
Yeah.
But because it was like repetitive things, it would wind me up and it would get frustration out.
That's interesting. Because I am now, if I'm upset, I guess, I also listen to angry songs. Because as Damon Lindelof is fond of saying, anger is like whenever you're angry, you're actually just sad, basically. So I'm
sad.
I unhealthily decide to turn it into anger instead of being sad.
Okay.
And get out that way. But I've never heard someone listening to music that like they dislike, so it irritates them. That's interesting. Like I listen to songs that, I like them on some level. Like they might be adolescent.
I would say, I liked it when it came out. Right. I did like the song when it came out. But there was something about it after a time of like I would hear it and I'd be like, no, I don't want to fucking let it go. Like
it's demanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let it go. You fucking let it go. You fucking bitch.
No, but exactly. But that was the thing, is it would work me up, and it was in the playlist was in an certain order when I was doing it originally. That it would help like sort of work up the anger, and then I would get past it and calm down.
Yeah.
And I'd get to those sort of songs. So actually, I know it's a weird tangent, but that worked quite well for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd cap it off with saying Tyrannosaur Light Cavalry, I think, is the film you're not going to be seeing on many best of the decade lists. So, in a way, again, I recommend that more than I would other films.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Yes. Music. There's going to be music now.
Number 4.
So
number 4 for me is Inside Llewyn Davis.
Ooh, okay.
Now, I will stipulate, since I decided on what the top 4 were, this order's changed an astronomical amount of time.
Yeah, yes. Inside Llewyn Davis was initially a lot higher for you, wasn't it?
Inside Llewyn Davis was originally, that was the film that was my number 1.
Okay.
Now, I will go into the plot in a second. One of the reasons it sort of fell down the list, because in my opinion, it's a little bit bleak.
Okay.
And so when it came to like, as I say, because rewatchability was something of an important factor for me, but because the other films, I suppose, there was just something more rewatchable about them for me.
Yeah.
It ended up that when I came to working this sort of top 5 out completely, it wasn't going to end up above those 3.
Okay.
What's it about?
Yeah, you can explain.
Yes.
So
Inside Llewyn Davis is a story set in it's set in the early 60s. Then it follows Llewyn Davis, who is a folk singer.
Yep.
It's kind of against, certainly by the end of it, it's against the backdrop of Bob Dylan. And essentially it follows him and a life in the week of him.
A life in the week.
A week in the life. Alright, it's late.
It is late. Sorry.
Yeah, a week in the life for him. So you see the sort of place he plays at regularly, the place, he's kipping on people's couches.
Yeah.
He's a struggling musician. He used to have a partner. Eventually you find out what happened to their partner. That where he ends up like going to a recording space in a different part of America because he'd hoped that his record was going to shift out there. He essentially gets told he's not going to make it as a singer. Comes back and he has what is a fairly good performance at the end of it.
Yeah.
And then the next person on after him is Bob Dylan.
Well, that's the thing. You get the sense of he just missed out on being Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the fact they played on the... He was the unlucky bastard that played the same night that Bob Dylan played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's,
I do have a quick question before we carry on with this discussion.
Yes.
Because the type of music he plays, he's an indie sort of... He's folk. Yeah, it's sort of a man singing with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
I'm completely tone deaf when it comes to that type of music.
Oh, are you?
So, you're going to have to tell me whether his music is actually good or not.
Some of it is, some of it isn't.
Yes.
I mean, like, his own music is good.
Okay.
Like his songs.
Because I
when he
those
does
songs
like
were
outer
composed...
space, like those are novelty terrible records.
That's great. I know that was the kind of
is hands down one of the best bits of the film, though.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, because I remember because I hadn't seen the film until Eddie had suggested it, put it on his list, and you've like done that before.
What,
you've
outer space?
Yeah, outer space. And I've never known what it's from, but I've never had the courage to ask you, and now I finally know.
You've had the courage to ask.
So it wasn't quite that. It was just like I assume it's like a reference I don't remember. But no, I'd never seen this.
Yeah, there's something really
early Adam Driver as well.
Early Adam Driver. It's only 2013, but yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been through an entire franchise.
I think that was the first thing I saw him in.
Yeah. Well, no, but yeah, I think that's one of his earlier things.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not for me.
Yeah, not for you. Yeah. It's that song. Yeah, I mean, it is meant to be a terrible like space 60s kind of song.
Yeah. I don't know. I was singing along by the end.
No, that's the thing because it's a novelty tune. Do you know what I mean? It's got, but I do like it a lot. The thing, Adam Driver is what makes it.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, the outer space is obvious. But for me, it's the I love that.
Please, Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
Hey, Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, it's good.
Because obviously, whether his music is actually good or not, I feel is kind of important to the film. Because you need to know whether he's just a guy who's unlucky or whether he's delusional. You know?
No,
and I didn't know.
This is the
because I
thing.
couldn't tell.
With some of it, you get the sense of he's obviously so. The title of the film comes from the debut album he's done as a solo artist.
Yeah.
He used to have a partner.
Again, good title because it's double meaning.
I think it's inspired by a musician called Dave Van Ronk, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. As I say, certainly I think if he had the partner, it's definitely sort of believable that would have found success as a duo.
Yeah. And there's also the idea, like we're talking about him existing in the shadow of Bob Dylan, and also they've called him Llywyn Davis.
Yeah.
Dylan being a Welsh name.
Yeah.
It's like he's just almost. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, so certainly with the duo, there's a chance that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know why I'm skirting around saying what happened to the partner.
It's up to you. It's up to how much you want to spoil it, I suppose. It's your discussion we're having at the moment.
The partner jumps off a bridge and kills himself.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah. So obviously he's kind of affected by that, and that's sort of part of the character. He's a kind of a like weird character, obviously.
Yeah.
And one of the things I will highlight is in my head there is always a brilliant image of him and the cat.
Yeah.
and he's a folk singer with a cat.
A cat whose meaning may not be strictly literal. Like there's a whole Greek thing going on in that film.
Oh yeah. Well, the cat is called. What's the cat called? It's not Ulysses, is it?
Yeah, Ulysses.
Oh, it is Ulysses.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's the cat of a philosophy professor.
Yeah, whose couch he stays on.
Whose couch he stays on, yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, you talk about that being a great image. For me, there's like a moment, there's an image, like a shot in the film, just completely like legitimizes that world for me. And that's when Oscar Isaac, who plays Llywyn Davis, he's crashing on Adam Driver's couch for a night. And he's just been given all of his records from the record company he's with because they can't keep them in their archives anymore.
Yeah.
And he goes to put them under a table, and then there's something stopping him. So he looks under the table, and all of Adam Driver's records are in the same box under that table. Yeah. And in that moment, it's just like, right, that's completely...
Yeah.
That's a brilliant image.
Yeah. It is. It's a very imagistic film in that way.
Yeah.
It's very... The cinematography is amazing. You feel cold watching it.
I was initially worried because the Coens have... Obviously, it's a Coen Brothers film, and they always have fantastic cinematography. Mm-hmm. But their films are usually a lot...
warmer?
Yeah, and they have like they tend to have like starker color palettes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Fargo, which is a very cold film because it's set in the snow, it's very like high contrast because you've got snow against like blood, and everyone kind of wears like darker clothing. Whereas this, it was kind of a very desaturated.
It just feels grey to me.
Yeah, it's almost it's such a grey film.
It's lifeless. Yeah,
it is so desaturated, and I was initially very worried, but it
for me
still looks gorgeous.
I'd say for me that plays into its experience because it does come across as you say as a lifeless film.
Yeah,
and that is kind of him.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a bum. Like you're sort of not really sure how much of a douchebag he is.
Yeah,
because other characters treat him like, especially Carey Mulligan.
Yeah,
like she calls him an arsehole at any given opportunity.
Yes, and I will say I think star turn from her as well.
Yeah, she's great in it.
Yeah,
she's great.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, they're all great.
I mean, I say Justin Timberlake's he's on and off for me as an actor.
Yeah, same.
We'll get into another performance of his at some point.
We will.
But in this, it's probably one of the better things I think he's done.
Yeah, well directed. I think they've got that Coen thing of the supporting characters are really they just have those ticks.
Mm.
The Coens have a weirdly great observational skill about like how to make a character feel really rich and layered.
I can't remember what video essay I saw because I'm lifting this point from a video essay.
Okay.
But I think it was about. Oh, it might have been Every Frame of Painting's video on the Coens. Right. But he says they just like their production design and everything that they do. They always manage to tell you exactly who that character is in a single moment.
Yeah, like
they highlight like a character. There's like a female. I think she's from No Country for Old Men. She's like a shopkeeper or something.
Right.
Or she's sitting at a desk and there's all these like knickknacks behind her desk.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you just know exactly who that person is. You know.
Yeah, like in Llewyn Davis, the one that springs to mind is the soldier that's just slurping the cereal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay, he's well-meaning and like he's a fair-haired child, but he's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like with Llewyn Davis, you're never quite sure. Is he a dick? I think he's a dick. You never quite, you know.
I mean, as we've gone full spoiler anyway.
Yeah.
But he sleeps with Carey Mulligan's character.
Yes.
Who is with Justin Timberlake's character.
Yeah.
And there is a whole subplot which involves the fact that she is pregnant, possibly with his child, possibly with Justin Timberlake.
As unceremoniously just going to abort her, like she doesn't even.
Oh yeah. She says
she
can't test because she doesn't want it if it's Llewyn Davis's baby.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't prove it, so I'm just gonna have to get rid of it.
But
but she has a go with him for it. She's like,
I know.
I might be giving up a genuinely good baby because of you. You bastard. Fucking hell.
You know,
yeah.
Like, she blames him fully for the fact that those two had sex.
Yeah.
And then you find out later in the film that, you know,
she gives it around.
Yeah, she gets
That's
around.
the thing, it's unclear, like, because the film, it's a loop, isn't it? Like, it starts with a scene from the very end of it.
Well, so it starts with him playing outside and getting beaten up.
Yeah,
by someone's other half.
Yeah,
which we don't know initially.
Which we don't know initially. Yeah, just a random bloke's beating him up.
Yeah.
And then, the film ends with that scene. He insults another singer, and then her husband beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
It is the same thing, but it is a mirror. It's not quite the same scene.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, the film, it is like I think part of the reason it feels so stark and lifeless is this is his existence in a loop.
Yeah.
Like, this is basically his life. There's a hint of maybe success down the road. He's rejected, and he goes back, and that is every week, every month of his life. You know? I love the scene with F. Murray Abraham where he finally makes it to the big audition scene, and he plays his heart out. And whether you like the song or not, like, you can clearly tell it's very emotional, intense. He's giving himself to it, and it's sung very beautifully and everything. And then the guy just says, "I don't think there's a lot of money in this."
Yeah,
and just tells him to fuck off, basically. And it's great. You know, it's a film about almost making it. You know. Yeah. It could be called Almost Famous.
Were they not?
Were they not film called?
Yeah. Again, I think it's quite a tight script.
Yep. As ever. Well,
it's generally speaking, the Coen brothers are very well done.
Generally speaking, yeah.
There are obviously
a few stinkers.
Usually ones where they haven't directed it as well. I think is.
Oh yeah, if they haven't directed it, it's almost reliably bad.
Yeah.
Except Bridge of Spies.
Yeah. Suburbicon,
Gambit.
Yeah.
Yes, and like they've done a few, like the Lady Killers is quite bad. Their remake of that. Burn After Reading is
I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, Burn After Reading is quite insubstantial.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's okay.
I've got a real soft spot for Burn After Reading.
But like after No Country for Old Men, it's all.
There's no comparison.
No, they had a tendency to do that in the noughties and in the 90s actually. Make a really substantial film and then make trash. Really.
Yeah.
Some of that trash is The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah.
But they make a Fargo, then they do a Big Lebowski. They make Miller's Crossing.
I would say I prefer The Big Lebowski over Fargo. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, you're wrong there. But still.
No,
he's not. But, that's not to say you dislike Fargo.
Oh, no. I absolutely love Fargo.
Yes.
But for me, I have Big Lebowski makes it into like my top 10 all-time films.
All opinions, correct and incorrect, are welcome on this podcast.
Just Sam's way of genuinely just going, nah, you're wrong.
Yeah,
Shut
you're
the
wrong.
fuck up, mate.
Burn After Reading. I've tried to love that film. I can't quite do it, but I like the idea of that film. That final scene, I think, is a great final scene.
It is.
Where it's just kind of like, well, we learned nothing.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. We've learned nothing from this.
Yeah,
you know?
But yeah, Inside Llewyn Davis, I think because of its atmosphere, it's a film that I admire the fuck out of.
Yeah.
But I can't love it.
Yes.
Because of the alienation,
Yeah.
the detachment.
I also think, I mean, it's still a great film unto itself, but they do, when Llewyn Davis sings, he sings.
Mm-hmm.
They don't cut away from it. They don't shorten it. You're there for the musical number.
And it's Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, and he's legitimately singing.
Which is, I think you can't do anything else. I think it's a complete, I don't even know what to call it. When you get an actor and then you dub them over with a singer, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Even if the actor is like in Bohemian Rhapsody when Rami Malek playing Freddie. Okay, fine, it's difficult to sound like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Don't do it then. Like, the actor has to sing.
Yeah.
I think that's the rule.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the one thing with Rocket Man. Taron Egerton does a weirdly good job.
He does. And even if he didn't sound like him, at least he's singing the song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to bring up the middle of the film. I think it's the middle of the film. It's when he goes on the road trip with
John Goodman.
And that other bloke.
Garrett Hedlund.
That initially concerned me. Not concerned me, but I was sort of like, oh, this is a different film now.
Right.
Which, you know, I trust the Coens when they do things like that.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. I was worried that we were because I didn't think we were ever going to go back to New York. So I thought, oh, that part of the film's over now, and we're with this new batch of characters.
Okay.
And that made me feel that took me out of it slightly.
Right.
Obviously, you find out where they're going, and then, you know, you end up with that scene with F. Murray Abraham, and then we go back to New York. So it's sort of like, but it does sort of feel like an interlude in the story almost. That they're going on this long road trip, and there are these two characters that don't show up anywhere else in the film, and no part of it really feeds into the rest of it.
But it's one of those, the Coens, they have that thing of making you doubt what's real. I don't know if you had that, like Inside Llewyn Davis. None of it could be real. You get that vibe, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
honestly,
I know what you're saying.
This could be, I don't know, there's a weird surreality to it.
Yeah.
The fact he sees the cat on the drive back and is kind of, is this real? Is it the same cat? Is it real?
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got a thing with Greek legend, like "Oh brother, where art thou?" is the Odyssey rewritten. You know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So to me, like the fact that it's like that road trip, and when they're in the big, like the service station, doesn't feel real to me.
Okay.
I think that's the atmosphere the film conjures.
Yeah.
But I love that quality about this stuff, and the fact that it sort of becomes a different film. I think that's part of being the kind of bum folk singer.
Yeah.
No one sticks around for too long, and so it's kind of, he's a wanderer. He meets these new people. He hitchhikes here. He hitchhikes there. You know.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with
this
that.
thing. John Goodman.
Yes.
Yeah, a Coen regular.
Yes.
He is a Coen regular, which is the reason I feel like it's the only reason he's in this film.
Oh, did you not like him in the film?
It's like that's my main criticism I have.
Okay.
Is for me that part probably could have been played by anyone.
Right.
And I was just like, if you're going to get someone like John Goodman in,
you're saying he's underused.
Yes.
Okay.
And so for like that reason, I kind of, it's like the one thing I come away with going.
Then again, when he's in the film, we're kind of stuck with him. We never get a break from him.
No.
If you were to,
unrelenting and
if you were to put him in, if you were to integrate him into the story back in New York, we wouldn't see much of him anyway, because Llewyn doesn't really stick around with people for that long. Does he? Like, Carey Mulligan only has like a couple of scenes.
I feel like it's almost kind of doing the film a disservice to talk about the plot machinations. It's almost the plot doesn't matter almost.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a film that concerns itself with structure or anything.
No, yeah. I think that's it's
as embodied by that road trip scene. Where it's like, oh, this is just a different.
It's
film
meandering.
Now.
Yeah. It's a week in the life.
Yeah.
That's just something that happens.
Yeah.
He manages to get a ride to where he wants to go.
A week in the life, and the week is the life. I would say, right?
Yeah. As you say, he's like teetering on the edge, and it doesn't really feel like he's gonna get any better.
No, he'll probably
he'll peter out.
You'll fade away.
Yeah.
You won't burn out. Yes.
Better to burn. Yeah, I was waiting for one of us to do it. Anything else to say, lads?
Nope, that's all I got on Llewyn Davis. Yeah. It's a very sparse film. There's almost like not that much to talk about in a way, because the film's like a mood board. Watch it.
Yeah, I will always recommend the Coen Brothers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even they're weaker. Like I really like the film, but I would still call it one of their weaker offerings, and I would still recommend it more than most films that year.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure. Okay. To me. So my number 4 is Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Say it properly, George, for God's sake.
Yeah,
I can't.
It's Spooderman.
Spooderman, yes, sorry.
Let's not do this.
No,
Let's
sorry.
not put me through this next hour and a
I'm
half.
only doing it the once, just
Okay.
for the sake of having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. It's genuinely difficult now because I've called him
Is it?
Spider-Man for so long.
Okay.
It's actually getting hard.
Okay.
Yes, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yes, so Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse is its own continuity, and Sony, of course, they tried to do the Amazing Spider-Man universe. They're trying to do the Venom universe as well, both of which have been rather poorly received. So I think this was Sony's final okay, let's really try and pull something out of the bag now. So this is an animated film from their animated studio, and it's about Miles Morales, who is a Spider-Man from the comics, a Spider-Man from the comics, but in mainstream. At least in mainstream cinema, certainly not in mainstream cartoons and whatnot.
Right.
This is kind of his first major appearance, I think. Because I know in the comic books he's sort of the second Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I say second Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Second proper Spider-Man. And it's basically his origin story. It's sort of he sort of is given the powers of the Spider-Man around about the time that Kingpin turns on this machine that sort of causes multiple dimensions to crash in on his own. So he sort of ends up joining forces / being mentored by multiple Spider-Men from other dimensions as they try and stop Kingpin's ultimate plan. It's not from Lord and Miller, it's from one of them. I can never remember which one.
Lord.
It's from Phil Lord and
He's
Rodney...
one of the writers, I believe.
Yes, and No, I think it was just Rodney Rothman who... No, there were 3 directors, right?
I think there were 3 or 4 directors.
Okay.
Yes.
Rodney Rothman's definitely one because he also did the screenplay.
Bob Pachetti.
He's one, yeah.
And the other one.
Sorry, the other one. Sorry for
you carry on talking. I'll Google it because this is meant to be our top 10 of the decade. We should probably have some of this information to hand.
Yes, obviously, I talked about Lego Movie in the last podcast. It was my number 9 of the decade. This is sort of like a spiritual successor in the sense that it feels kind of very similar tonally and in its humor, and although I would say
evolution.
It's an evolution of it, definitely. Yeah. And I think that's why it ended up ranking slightly higher for me, is because Lego Movie was kind of the progenitor of this type of... Sorry, go on.
Peter Ramsey.
There you go, Peter Ramsey. Yeah, the Lego Movie was sort of the progenitor of this kind of again, to bring up the idea that Lord and Miller do films about a property rather than the contents of that property. Go listen to our Lego Movie discussion to sort of I bring it up in more detail there.
Yeah.
It's not as sort of... I don't know. I don't know where I was going. I had no idea what point I was going to make. I was hoping it would arrive. It's a very good film.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good film. Like the Lego Movie, the animation is kind of the star of the show. Whereas the Lego Movie tries to mimic stop motion, homemade stop motion animation. This is directly trying to ape the look and style and energy of comic books. And I think it pulls it off marvelously.
The Lego Movie...
Pun intended.
Yes. The Lego Movie...
the sheer disappointment from
Sam. Harking back to our conversation on the last podcast. The animation is exhausting, for me.
Okay.
In Spider-Man, it's exhaustive.
Explain.
So the Lego Movie, as I said, by the 3rd act, I'm sort of full.
Yeah.
Whereas at the end of the very end of Spider-Verse, you feel sated, I'm nice and I've had my meal now.
Yes, okay.
And by exhaustive, I mean I don't know what more they could possibly have done to make the thing look and feel.
Yeah, with the exception of more styles of animation.
Yeah, which would have been too much.
Which would have been way too much. Because, yes, there are multiple Spider-Men, 3 of which kind of ape different animation styles. So you have an Asian version of Spider-Man who is sort of very deliberately... Her movements and everything are supposed to be very anime.
Yeah.
You've got then the sort of the noir 1930s Spider-Man, who's he's completely black and white.
Yeah, it's like a newspaper cartoon.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called exactly, but yeah, it's kind of newspaper style things. And then you've got a pig version of Spider-Man where it's aping the Looney Tunes.
Yes.
So they're not just they're not just different characters, they're completely different styles of animation. And yeah, I think it's enough, especially since those three characters very much play supporting roles. They're not main features of the plot.
Yeah.
They're not important to the story.
No.
But it's nice that they're there. But yeah, I can't imagine a film like Lego Batman, for example, where it pulls in like loads of villains from all these different properties, you know?
Yeah, no, it's an embarrassment of riches. It really, like Spider-Verse, it is. It feels very, I don't deserve this much that you're giving me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've worked too hard, almost.
Yes, yeah.
Are they doing a sequel?
They are.
Yes, I don't know of who, though. I can't...
Gwen, I think there was talks about...
It was Gwen and Noir were like the two major ones.
You'd assume that Spider-Gwen would be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see a Spider-Ham film. He's my favourite of the...
Okay.
I love Spider-Ham.
You two are going to disagree.
We are.
I am just kind of indifferent to Spider-Ham. It just...
Okay.
He was there.
What about Noir Spider-Man?
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not saying I want to... No, I am, actually. I am saying I'd rather see a film about Spider-Ham. I don't know, it's the way
you literally just said that.
Yeah, I did. It's late.
Yeah.
As Eddie has said.
Yes.
It's later now.
Yes.
It's
going to keep getting later.
It's going to keep getting later. Time, you bitch. Yeah, I don't know. Just that I found him the most charming. I mean, Spider-Gwen is just, the woman.
Yes.
Let's face it.
Okay.
I like...
I was saying, are you telling me you wouldn't?
She's animated, dude. I know I said I...
Yeah, but she's of age.
I know I said
I'd
fuck a Korean. That doesn't mean I'd fuck an anime character.
I have standards.
I'm sorry, I didn't realise there was a stipulation.
Yeah, I'd fuck a real woman, not a cartoon woman.
Yeah.
That's like my rule.
Unfortunately, in the age of the internet, that is something you have to clarify.
It is,
You wouldn't
yeah.
fuck an animated character.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found him the most charming
Okay.
out of the bunch.
Okay.
I know you're meant to like Nicolas Cage as one the most.
Yes.
I don't like it when films do that, as we talked about.
Okay.
I do like him.
Yeah.
I do like him, but I don't find him as cool as the film wants me to find him.
Is he supposed to be cool?
Yeah, he's a bit like brooding and awesome.
No, but I feel like in a way it's kind of like Lego Batman, where it's almost
it's
excessive.
parodying it.
Yeah, it's excessive to the point where it's making fun of that.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That fucking like one of the first like that's always something that bothers me is whenever I listen to like audience reactions and stuff. There's the moment where you see them all in the basement for the first time. And they kind of reveal themselves to Gwen, Peter Parker, and Miles. And his coat is like billowing in the wind.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker goes, "There's no wind in here. Why is his coat blowing?" Or something like that. And everyone always laughs at that.
Right.
Whereas I feel like the real joke is the line that follows from Noir Spider-Man, which is, "Wherever I go, the wind follows, and the wind smells like rain."
Oh, I think they both laugh.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of like
that's the bigger laugh.
Yeah, and that stuff like that annoys me if I feel like the broader stuff gets bigger laughs than the actual but that's the joke. That's the constructed joke that they've like done for you.
But that's what that separates us from the plebs, doesn't it? We get to enjoy that. Not everyone has to enjoy it on the same level.
Yeah,
it's okay. We're just better than them.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you confirmed that for me.
Yeah,
I was worried until this moment.
Yeah, it's like Eddie and I were having a conversation the other day about was it Parasite? And we were talking about how no one's going to watch that film.
Yes.
Yeah, I said to you, like, at least that we have something that's ours. Like, people, we can't make people not be stupid.
I was moaning about the fact that this year, 2019 will be remembered for one film.
Yes.
Yes, it will, yeah.
Unfortunately.
That modern classic.
Yeah.
Joker.
Yes.
We're talking about Joker.
It's not good. Stop it. It's not good. But I'll tell you what is good. Spider-Verse.
Touché.
Yes.
I've got a few points.
Okay.
It's diverse without drawing attention to it.
That was actually one of my points, that it does diversity right.
It does.
Mm-hmm. I was initially worried because in the sort of the marketing campaign building up to this film, they kept making a point of Miles being the first biracial superhero, which it's him. It's a weird sound.
Which is him.
It's particularly. Well, no, I know why they did it. It's to be like, oh, look at us. We're like
progressive.
Yeah, we're progressive and we're setting like a benchmark and stuff. But his father, who's black, is like a major character in the film, and his mother, who's Latina, is barely a presence.
Yeah,
you see her in like maybe one or two scenes. She never has a scene on his own. She's not a part of the finale. She's kind of like off somewhere else, So it's weird that they kind of played up the biraciality when the black side of Miles's family, his father and his uncle, play such a major role. And yet the Latina side never factors into it.
I think that's a marketing thing, isn't it? I mean, like, I've listened. I don't know if you have listened to the audio commentary for the film.
Yeah.
I don't think they mention it once.
No. Yeah.
The diversity.
No, and that's very much a feature of the studio. I mean, Amy Pascal, who like her logo shows up at the beginning of the film, Pascal Pictures. She's like, I mean, she's responsible for Ghostbusters 2016. She's like really.
She's also responsible for Little Women.
She is, yes. She's kind of like Kathleen Kennedy in a sense that she's like really trying to push this like feminism in that kind of cinema. But yeah, that kind of and the film itself, it sort of never, apart from one moment, never
just that one moment.
Just that one moment.
Yeah.
Do you know the moment we're talking about, Eddie?
No.
It's when they're trying to break into the facility to get the secondary, what's he call it? Goober.
Yeah.
The secondary goober, and
he's the MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin, and he's like laying out the plan, and he says, "Oh, I've got to approach the head scientist," and it's like a picture of a man, and then a woman walks by, and you hear Miles saying, "Oh, the woman is actually the head scientist," and Peter Parker goes, "Okay, I got to check my personal biases,"
which is funny. But that's the only time you can.
Yeah, that's like the one moment. It's like, you didn't need that.
You didn't need to do that.
That feels like.
Is that your one critique?
I suppose.
Okay.
It's the one moment where that kind of veneer is pricked of like, until with the exception of maybe this is kind of a perfect example of how diversity in cinema should be done. I want to bring up Star Wars very briefly, if I may.
You may.
Specifically, I want to bring up Rey. I want to bring up Daisy Ridley's character because I feel like that's diversity done wrong.
Or Mary Sue Skywalker.
Yes, exactly. Because that character. Sorry.
Do you want to explain Mary Sue?
Oh, okay, because I mentioned Gary Stu on when we were talking about Skyfall, and no one picked up on it. I assumed you.
Is Gary Stu the male equivalent?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Oh, okay. I think that's more recent than Mary Sue. I think that's because a male equivalent was needed.
Yes.
Basically, Mary Sue is sort of. It used to be seen as like a self-insert character, but I think it's basically become a term for a female character that is sort of deliberately like the most powerful force in the story. She's kind of like, she's overpowered and everybody loves her and she's got no flaws whatsoever and there's no like bad qualities about her. Initially it was because authors would kind of write themselves into the story and all of the characters would love them.
Yeah.
Whereas that kind of self-insert element has sort of gone in recent.
Oh, okay.
Because, there is debate about it, but I would definitely say, particularly in the last film, that Rey from Star Wars is a Mary Sue. And I don't
100%.
know what she would be a self-insert of,
No. Yeah.
But yeah, like in Star Wars, as we say, particularly towards the end in the Rise of Skywalker, she is like the most powerful Jedi that has ever existed, and she's has all of these like abilities, and everybody loves her. Like when they go to that planet and they meet Kerry Russell's character, it doesn't matter. Don't tell me the name. I don't want to know.
I don't know.
Okay,
that's gonna be personal.
But she's like hostile.
I haven't seen it, so I'm fucking.
Okay, she's like immediately hostile towards Poe, and she's going to kill them. And then Rey like overpowers her, and Kerry Russell's immediately like, "Oh, I really like you,"
right?
And things like
that. You did a thing.
Yeah. And then you look at Miles in this film, and he's just a bitch. Like he's like constant. They do so much to kind of like give him something that they show that he has something to overcome by becoming Spider-Man. He wears that like shitty Spider-Man costume for like half the film.
Yeah, he does.
That's his Spider-Man costume. They do a really cool thing, and I love it when filmmakers like go into this much detail to kind of like bring out like aspects of the character. They animate him on twos. Do either of you know what that means?
No.
Okay.
Basically
That means that in animation, when you animate on twos, you only animate a character. A character only moves every 2 frames.
Right.
So, say for example, you've got a film running at 24 frames per second. If you're animating on ones, that character is moving at 24 frames per second. If you're animating on twos, they're running at 12 frames per second.
Right.
Obviously, that makes the character far more choppy, and the movements are far more static and staccato and awkward. Most of the Spider-Men, the actual Spider-Men in the film, are animated on ones, whereas Miles, until the moment where he sort of earns his Spider-Man-ness, he's animated on twos. So by comparison, he looks far more jerky and uncomfortable.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And
you're a particular fan of animation, aren't you?
Yeah, I really like animation, and I specifically love when animated films do things like that.
Yeah.
And even live action filmmakers where they're like, okay, these are the tools I have at my disposal. How can I work this into the story?
How does the style
inform
serve?
Exactly. It wasn't just. I mean, it is a very fantastic style of animation, and it's like the Lego Movie, completely unique. I don't think there's any film that looks like this.
No, and one of the points I've got is you never get used to it, but in the best way.
Yes.
It's not like you can't quite adjust to it.
Yeah.
It's just always kind of surprising you, and you're like, I'm sort of following this film.
Yeah.
I'm not with it. You sort of know what I mean? I'm not by its side. I'm always kind of like latching onto it.
Yes.
And that is really rewarding, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, they do that to Miles, and then obviously by the end of the film, he becomes Spider-Man, and he's very capable, and it feels like, you've earned this, you've overcome the difficulties. Whereas with Rey, it's just kind of like, she's the most powerful and the bestest, and you all love her now.
Yeah.
The other thing I really like is in The Last Jedi, obviously the very end of The Last Jedi, they have that moment where the young kid has like a broom, and he kind of holds it like a lightsaber.
Yes.
And the message of that film, the message you're supposed to come away with is anyone can be a Jedi.
Which I like a lot.
Yes. But in Rise of Skywalker, they completely go back on that, where they go, no, Rey is the only Jedi.
It's sort of like American politics. It's like, no, it has to just be dynasties and families and the three same lineages used again and again and again.
Yeah, yeah.
Obama's wife is running for president. Clinton's wife is, it's the same again and again. It's like, no, it should be any kid can become president. Yeah. Any kid can become a Jedi.
But yeah.
That's all run for 2024.
Yeah, we can't. Because we're not Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
There are limits. There are limitations.
Yes, so they retract that from The Last Jedi, whereas Spider-Verse very much embraces that.
Yes, and of course the message of the film is...
anyone can be Spider-Man. Yes. Because what the film does is it aims to change the answer to the question, who is Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I think if you were to ask most people, most of like the general movie-going public before this film came out, who is Spider-Man, everyone would have said Peter Parker, right? Mm-hmm. The film obviously wants to change that to Miles Morales, but it doesn't say that only Miles Morales can be Spider-Man.
No, there's no the Spider-Man.
There's no the Spider-Man, and it has the confidence in that character and in itself to say anyone can be Spider-Man. It invites imagination of like the younger audiences to be like, you can be Spider-Man.
Yes, and again, the kind of the characters and the plot serve that ultimate. I don't think when you're watching it, you're thinking, the theme of this is anyone can be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
When he does say it at the end, it is a bit like, okay.
Yeah.
But then you look back and you think, the fact they've included all these disparate, random, Spider-Man alternates.
Yeah.
It's like, didn't you get it?
Yeah.
Anyone can be,
Yeah.
It's really nice.
And it's nice that the film takes place entirely in Miles's alternate universe, which is positioned as an alternate universe.
Yes.
So you could even say, like, the film is saying, like, Miles is the Spider-Man of that universe, but maybe of your universe, you're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And The Last Jedi...
as long as it doesn't encourage kids to start trying swinging off roofs.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Then it'd be fine.
But that's why I think it's diversity done right, because The Last Jedi did that, and then Rise of Skywalker retracted that.
Yes.
And when you just look at Rey's character compared to Miles's character, I think, this is definitely...
I'm sure this is fodder for a future podcast as well, but the latest Star Wars series is a cautionary tale about everything not to do if you're making films, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
But anyway.
Yeah, but that is a discussion for another day.
Yes.
The scene... This is a far more specific comment that I have.
Do it.
The scene where Miles encounters the alternate universe Peter Parker...
Right.
Which is the Peter Parker we follow for most of the film. Mm-hmm. They have like a bit of a scene where that Peter Parker ends up being knocked unconscious. Mm-hmm. And then to escape the cops, they sort of like attach themselves to a train. Yeah. And then they're being dragged behind a train through the city streets. Mm-hmm. That feels too slapsticky for this film, I think. I don't know about you guys.
No.
It feels like too broad I didn't know how to phrase this, because I didn't want to say that it felt too cartoony, because this is a cartoon. And it's a comic book. Like, it's trying to look like a comic book as well. When characters like hit each other in fight scenes, they even have like the speech, like the pow and the pow and the wallop and all that kind of stuff. And they don't even freeze frame. They just kind of integrate it into the action. So it's weird to say that it feels too cartoony, but that slapstick scene was just too broad for me, and I felt like it was too broad for the film. It took me out of it slightly.
Is that a function of age?
It could be, but it felt like it was appealing to an audience younger than the film is.
I don't know, because I think that the film is universal. Yeah, I think like really young audiences can see this film.
Oh yeah,
it's not like a 12A or anything like that. I think, it never occurred to me watching the film that it was out of place. When I watch animation, there's always the understanding I have, like, I'm going to have to put up with some juvenilia.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, some bits that I don't love because it's, you know, it's playing to the younger audience.
Yeah.
I guess if I was written off as that, I was like, okay, that's a bit that I don't personally love, but we'll get past this, back to the dialogue and back to the cool dynamics and everything.
The whole thing with the train, I treated like it was a callback.
I think it was definitely a callback.
Oh, yeah.
Because this film immediately starts calling back to previous Spider-Man ventures.
Including its failures.
Including its failures, yeah. It loves the fact that it's a Spider-Man film.
It does.
Yeah, and it doesn't hide from that.
No.
But yeah, that scene, it's just a little bit too... Again, it's not like the film isn't cartoony already, but it's like, okay, this is one of those... Because I think even like as they're getting dragged along by the train, the characters are getting like bruised, and I think at one point like a tooth falls out. It's one of those things where like, okay, the film is going to have to ignore the injuries that these characters would have sustained in order to carry on now. And I'm not saying the rest of the film doesn't do that, because it's like a comic book film, so they're in these like very perilous fight scenes and stuff.
Yep.
But the film as a whole feels a little bit more grounded than that. Just a little bit. Just enough for me to watch that scene and go, this feels slightly out of place.
Okay.
Obviously, that's not something you two feel.
No, I think because of the style of animation, it's sort of a film where... I'd have to rewatch it again, I suppose, with that in mind, but it feels like a film where anything could happen. Really. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which is usually is something I'd cite as a weakness. It's not a weakness in the case of this film.
No.
But I will, next time I watch it, bear that in mind.
Okay.
The one thing I would like to touch on is its soundtrack.
Okay.
Okay.
What would you like to say about it specifically?
So, I was vaguely aware of the Post Malone song, Sunflower.
Yeah.
That the soundtrack, obviously, it goes up and down. There's different, moods and things for different scenes. But in terms of how well it accompanies the film, I think it's a very, very well done soundtrack.
Okay.
Like I downloaded the soundtrack. I paid for the soundtrack.
The score as well. I think the Prowler's theme is one of the better pieces of music to come out of cinema this decade. I think that kind of like that weird, almost like drony, siren-y song.
The fact that I can't remember it makes me disagree.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But I would have.
I think it's one of those things though. As soon as I play it for you, you'll know exactly what I'm going about.
Okay. I mean, the soundtrack is one of the things that I just sort of like fell into the background for me. Like I'm not really a fan of that song particularly.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Given that it is his like theme.
Yeah.
It is probably one of the songs I least like.
Okay.
On the album.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, the song where his roommate comes into the room, and obviously they're all like on the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
And it's a song called "Start a Riot," and it's quite like loud and brash and thing. I listen to that probably almost at least once every day at the moment.
Oh right. Okay.
And I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
Like I to enjoy. I listened. Weirdly enough, I listened to it on the way to work, and it's like I don't know. I feel quite motivated listening to it. Kind of weirdly enough.
Interesting.
But then again, there's songs like "What's Up, Danger."
Yeah. Which is typically a genre of music I don't really like or listen to, but I do quite like that song. Yeah. Though it could just be because of its application in the film, because it's like
very well used in the film.
Yeah.
Particularly
it's that moment as well,
that
it's like, yes, fucking yes, it's happened.
Yeah. But yeah, that's...
Don't smile as if like I'm,
He's nerding out. We're loving it.
No, I'm smiling. I'm not smiling sniggeringly.
Yeah.
I'm just smiling.
All right. Okay.
Like, oh, Jordan's getting passionate.
Okay.
Yeah,
I smile when you get passionate.
You're nerding out, and I'm loving it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's, as I say, music's a big thing for me. So
yeah. I really like the because Miles is obviously from Queens, I think.
Yes.
And he's an urban kid. He's into like graffitiing, and he has like stickers that he like puts everywhere.
I thought that was a euphemism for Hispanic, but go on.
Oh right, okay. Would you say he's more Hispanic or black leaning in terms of like how his attitude and the?
Well, I'm not going to.
No.
Please hand me that 10-foot pole that I may extend across the room and not touch.
No, in terms of like what he like does and what he engages with and how he is, like because it might lead further into my point about it's weird that they played up his biraciality.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I think partly because we've already talked about how it's diversity done right.
Yeah,
the film never leans into his blackness. Or his Latino-ness. It kind of, he just is a kid of that ethnicity.
Yeah.
That's not an element like at all, really. He's just a kid.
Yeah,
you know, he's just a kid.
Yeah, and that was kind of the point I was going to make.
In fact, he goes to a gifted school, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's more white than anything.
Oh, okay then. And I'm the one for whom the barge pole is needed. But no, the point I was going to make is okay. The point I was going to make is that feels pretty authentic. It doesn't feel pandering. It doesn't feel like a group of writers focus tested a character from that, the people from that demographic. And it's like, so what would a person like this do?
No.
And like, oh, we're going to exclusively do things that this like focus group told us about. You know?
Yeah.
Where you laugh, Sam?
That's sort of a funny idea. His father is a black cop. He's going to shoot himself.
Okay. Okay.
Dear.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's a good joke. Come on,
it
that's
is a good joke. Yeah. Or is it? No, I have to condemn you now. Shame. Bring balance back
I'm
to
honestly
this
okay
podcast.
keeping that in.
Okay.
It's a joke, isn't it? It's clearly a joke.
Oh man. I was gonna have to at some point, wasn't I?
The problem is, whenever we usually laugh like this, when I'm listening back to it, that's always like, right, that's the thing we're isolating for social media. I don't know if we can do it in this case. It might be a bit like, oh, okay. We might lose viewers after that.
It's fine. We've got like 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say on Spider-Verse. Much like the Lego movie, it's sort of like, there are things you can say about it, but I think it's sort of like, it's something you have to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Something I recommend watching.
Yeah, again, it's the kind of film that I'm generally not into.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of it. A big fan of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew you liked it, but again, you were the one that recommended it to me, not him.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because you mentioned on I can't remember which podcast it was, but you mentioned on a previous podcast you hadn't seen it, despite being a Spider-Man fan, which I found very odd. So do you feel better for seeing it now? Do you feel like it's a film that you were gonna?
Yeah, I'm glad I saw it. It was nice to see something different from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It also, I gotta say, it feels definitive. Like, I don't know how they can do another one now, to be honest. They'll find a way in this
country. They always do.
They'll find a way. And
following one of the alternative Spider-Men.
Yeah.
Spider-Men. I feel like Miles is kind of done now.
I just mean, like, Spider-Man. As genuinely as an idea.
I see, okay.
The film feels so definitive, like this is the Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
Anything else is going to feel like a step down. But they'll manage to do something brilliant, and I'll eat my words. But
yes,
it does feel like, where do you go from here?
Shocking as well that it is from Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this portion can take, because this film came out. No, I was going to say this film came out before, but there were a couple of other Spider-Man films that came out before the temporary split between Sony and Marvel. But yeah, it kind of felt like when Sony initially signed with Marvel, they kind of needed Marvel because Spider-Man wasn't doing very well. But then they had that split, and it's like, well, Sony have got Spider-Verse now.
Yeah.
You kind of like, you don't need Marvel at the moment. You've got this perfectly viable property that you've built from the ground up. And it's a film that's kind of like, it's a film so fit for merchandising without feeling cynical. It doesn't feel, it's not like in Star Wars when like the porgs show up and you're like, all right, that's the toy.
Yeah.
That they're going to sell,
Yeah.
They kind of like weaved it so cleanly into the story, all of the different things you could do to market it.
The one thing, that question I will pose is, certainly, I think for a while, Spider-Man 2 was considered the best Spider-Man film. I don't know where Marvel's rank in comparison now.
Yeah.
But where is Spider-Verse in comparison?
Broadly or for us?
I suppose for us and broadly, really.
I think both would be, it's now the best.
Yeah.
I think the general consensus now is that Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man.
I think so.
Film.
Although people are very fond of the Home series from
the
MCU.
They are. But personally,
I have seen both of those, and I would say personally, this is better than both.
Yeah. Personally, Spider-Verse is number 1. For me, Spider-Man 2 is number 2. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Oh, that's fortunate, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think that's the best Spider-Man film, traditional Spider-Man film. Yeah. But the Holland stuff is innocuous enough.
Yeah, no, I like their place in the MCU. That's what I like about those films. I think if they were separate from that,
they're a bit lower key.
Yeah, they wouldn't have the same appeal. I think if they weren't in the context of this large cinematic universe. But what they represent in the grand scheme of things, I think, is why I like those films so much.
Yeah.
Whereas Spider-Verse, you can start a franchise from it, but at the moment, as just a solo outing, I think it's the best thing.
And I think it
Spider-Man
might,
has to offer.
like the Lego Movie too, I think it might abide the law of diminishing returns as well.
Okay.
I've got a horrible feeling that any more of that will reduce it.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Lego movies and we're kind of done now, aren't we? We had Lego Movie 1, 2, Batman,
we had a really good one.
Yeah.
A rather good one.
I'm very fond of Lego Batman.
Yeah, good then. I'll say good.
Okay.
A very good one, a good one. Okay,
Ninjago wasn't good.
And then terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was Lego Movie 2 the latest one?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So Ninjago was terrible.
Yeah.
We skyrocketed back to
Yeah.
and now we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that Spider-Man?
That is Spider-Man. Go watch Spider-Man.
Okay. My number 4 is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which we can't discuss yet.
We can't discuss. Thank God, a time-saving activity.
It's always you that gets to say.
What are you doing there, Sam? What's going on there?
He's a fucking genius.
I don't know. I just clearly think lesser of films you. I love films you love.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
We already knew you loved this.